There's some areas where I have had to pass through where the risk is higher because of cartel activity. I was walking, the van was ahead, and I spotted a spotter who had a radio and were announcing that we were there. So immediately I knew this was problematic. About 10 minutes later, a whole caravan of vehicles came speeding up to me. By the time I get to the van, the person that was supporting me had been pulled out of the van and was up against it in a position that looked like they might be executed, with 5 people around him with their assault weapons.
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek. I'm your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
Hi, I'm Juliana Chauncey, a.k.a. Chaunce.
Few reminders before we get to today's wonderful interview. If you're taking on a long-distance trek in 2026 and you want to be part of the baddest team in the backcountry, hit us up. We're accepting applications for trek bloggers. AT, PCT, CDT, shorter trails, international. It's all fair game. Some of the perks include a easy-to-use gear list, prominent features on the Trek's large social media platforms, an easy-to-use platform. We get to be best friends with Jess, and we'll fly out one person to join us here on Backpacker Radio at the end of the year. Which, fun fact, the person that we're flying out for this year is the person that connected us with today's guest, so it's come full circle. Next reminder is, if you guys aren't subscribed to Backpacker Radio's YouTube channel, shame on you.
Mm-hmm. I showed my feet yesterday.
Yep. What do you got in store for today?
Just wait. I'm not wearing underwear. So, youtube.com, check us out.
We're slowly turning into Olean fans here on Backpacker Radio.
Eventually, we're just going to be recording naked.
Yeah. I realized how tight my pants were today when I had my AirPods in and they were like bulging out.
Ooh.
It was like you could see the distinct shape of what was in my pocket. I'm like, I don't know if these fit anymore. I think the dad bod is changing the types of pants that I should be wearing. But
yeah, that's tough.
you would know that if you were watching this here on YouTube.
Yes.
Like, subscribe, comment.
Come see us on YouTube and check out Zach's tight pants.
Check out all the bulges.
Yeah, come look at Zach's bulges on YouTube.
Last but not least is if you enjoy this podcast and you want to support us, you can do so. Patreon.com/backpackerradio. For as little as $5 per month, you can support your favorite cinnamon connection. Mm-hmm. No advertisements on our episodes, if that's your thing. What else, Johns?
Yeah, uninterrupted ha-has. Nothing's like, imagine going to a comedy show, not saying that we're comedians, but imagine going to a comedy show and like in the middle when you like they built up the crowd work is done. It's just like, and now for a moment to talk about Michelin tires. You know, like it just ruins the mood sometimes. We love our advertisers. But if you don't want that to happen and you just want to ha-ha straight through the whole thing, patreon.com for less than the price of a spray bottle. If that's something that...
We determined a rubber chicken was about the cost threshold.
Yes, I also looked up other options as promised. Less than the cost of a spray bottle, less than a extremely small Lego set of a spider, which why would you want that?
How many pieces?
It looks incredibly small.
Okay.
Gift ideas for toddlers. So it's less...
Can I pass that along when you're done with this?
It's... Yeah, actually. My target audience is like Patreon.
Oh, Leo's big into...
Yeah, I'm supposed to say unenticing things. Don't get excited about this.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's less than the price of, you know those blue tins of cookies that like grandmas always have and it's never cookies inside?
Yeah.
Less than the price of one of those.
Just the tin?
I don't know.
Not even a single cookie?
I'm assuming Amazon sells it with cookies, but you could open it and it could be like cleaning supplies.
Yeah. If I got a tin of cookies and there was no cookies inside...
Be livid.
War.
That's not Backpacker Radio, though. Backpacker Radio is the tin and the cookies.
Yeah.
Less than a Jenga set. And I don't mean like a cool Jenga set. I mean like the cheapest Jenga set you can get.
Like plastic.
Like, no, there's still wood, but it's not like the big one.
Yeah. Probably wood from really sad trees.
Yeah, like trees, like ash beetle borer trees.
Yeah.
You know, like old, sick trees.
Yeah. Like a tree in a billionaire's backyard, and he just like cuts it down because he hates nature.
Yeah, I mean, I do imagine that billionaire backyards have pretty nice trees.
Yeah.
You know?
But they get rid of all the like mediocre trees, and that's what this Jenga set's made out of.
Yeah, this is like a forest thinning tree where it's like, and it's not like a, oh my God, don't cut down that tree, but it's like a get rid of that tree.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So we're better than all those things, is what.
Yeah, we're better than trees.
Yeah.
Backpacker Radio, better than trees.
Yep.
Find us on Patreon.
Been saying it for years. Good, very good. Patreon.com/backpackerradio. Let's get to today's interview with Lucy Barnard. Barnard. I was right the first time. I should have just trust my instinct. I'm always right the first time, right, Johns?
No.
Lucy, along with her dog Wombat, are hiking from the southernmost tip of Argentina to the northernmost point of Alaska. Yes, you heard that right. Lucy is setting out to become the first woman to walk the entire length of the Americas, a journey 8 years in the making thus far. Lucy has hiked all the way through South America, across the Darien Gap and the Chihuahuan Desert, along the CDT, and most recently left off on the Great Divide Trail in the Canadian Rockies. Lucy, thank you so much for joining us here at Backpacker Radio.
I'm amazed at your research. I'm like, I went there?
Did you go there? That's
All
the
of
first
those
question.
places, yes.
Yeah.
She has no idea what this hike is.
Yeah.
I really don't, actually. When I first started this journey, I did have an outline of where I wanted to go. And on my very first day, I had to change the trail. Yeah, I'd planned to go across a border crossing, but it was the kind of unofficial crossing where you have to organise 6 months in advance and get permission from the government to use, which I hadn't done because I didn't know, and plus I don't still speak very good Spanish. So, yeah, I had to coordinate my first, I don't know what you call it when you have to link from one side. It was basically a link hike. I walked into to the border, and then I had to go around and go through the border crossing legally into Argentina, and then walk all the way back and then continue.
Ah.
Yeah, I've had to do that a few times.
So that adds considerable time to what you're doing now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's not the biggest... it's, in the grand scheme of things that have cost me time, probably I wouldn't think to mention it normally. But, yeah, actually, I had to do it one time just because I didn't want to walk along road. So I went through the smuggler route, it's called, between Torres del Paine in Patagonia over to El Calafate. And... it was at the time that my beacon changed companies, and I didn't know that I didn't see any literature on having to agree with the new terms and conditions. So this changeover happened when I was linking back, and I had stopped the beacon in the middle of a mountain range. People thought I died because then they stopped tracking me. So I just got to the middle of this point in snow season. It was snowing. And then came back to it, and then when I continued hiking for like a month, my hike wasn't being tracked and people were just beside themselves, except for my family.
I was going to say, I bet you got some concerned calls or texts or messages.
It was the first sign of my Insta mums, which is like what I affectionately call people who write to me all the time saying, I just need to know you're okay.
That's awesome. I saw this on Instagram this morning. This might be a weird question, but I'm inspired by it. It's called High-Low Buffalo. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
No.
Okay. John's
also
is in the
called-
corporate world.
Well, it's also called rosebud thorn.
Uh-huh.
Is that there's names for it?
Yeah.
It's like a concept.
Yeah. So high-low buffalo is high, you tell me something that you're very excited about right now. Low, tell me something that you're struggling with. Buffalo, just tell me anything interesting about you, presumably, but...
You want me to high-low buffalo you?
Yes, please. I thought you'd never ask.
It sounds that way. Well, I'm really excited about the chocolate that I just ate.
There you go.
I'm bummed that I finished it. And something interesting about me is I'm obsessed with chocolate.
Are you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I always have hot chocolate in my pack for sure.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Is hot chocolate your primary mode of chocolate consumption?
Yeah, and I only really have it as a first aid item too, so I'm not eating it all the time. Actually, I discovered while hiking that sugar makes me super hungry, so I cut all sugars more or less out of my hiking kit.
You're the most unique hiker of all time.
Yeah, I
feel
know.
like.
I think I'm doing it all wrong. Believe me. Like when people see me hiking, they're like, "Whoa, your pack is huge."
Not enough sugar, yeah.
That too. Like, but seriously, you know how you go through hiker hunger?
Yeah.
You don't. If you don't eat sugar, you just never get hungry. And so it becomes a maintenance thing, the way that you consume food. You have to remember to eat.
So when you're in the start of the trail, like the way I see hiker hunger working is that like the first 2 weeks of a trail, I'm just not hungry. And then I start to get the hiker hunger after like week 3. Are you saying that I don't get hiker hunger in the beginning of a hike because I wasn't eating a ton of sugar coming into the hike, but now that I'm on trail, I'm eating shit and sugar, and that's then causing my hiker hunger?
So I have to stop hiking often for logistic reasons, right? When I'm in town, I eat all of the things, but when I'm hiking, I don't. So for me, it's as quick as that.
Interesting theory.
So
Yeah.
what is your average day of eating on trail?
Like oats in the morning, although I've recently discovered a mix of like hemp hearts and chia seed like pudding thing that I would leave soaking overnight because the daylight has been getting shorter. So I try and have something ready to get to in the bear vault.
You have no sweetener in your oats?
No, but I might have. So natural things don't count, right? Like I've got all these loopholes, of course.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I always
Fruit.
have dried fruit.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's different. It's attached to fiber. Your body handles it differently.
And it's hard to get bars and things that don't have sugar, but I just try and keep it to the absolute minimum. I was really strict with it when I first started getting hungry because down in Chile, I was so hungry. I'd get into town and I can remember holding myself back from shoving an old lady out of the line in the grocery store. So bad. And then someone told me that legally you're allowed to eat the food that you intend to buy in the supermarket before you go to checkout. So that's changed everything.
I thought you were going to say, legally speaking, you can shove the old lady out of your way.
I was going to say this goes back to the fountain soda refills, but I am under the assumption that it is an unwritten rule that if I intend to pay for it, I can have it on the way. Like if I go to the olive bar and I get some olives, I'm eating those as I walk. If I like get a drink from the thing, I'm drinking that while I walk. I'm going to pay for it. It's mine.
Yeah.
No one's ever said anything to me.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot and I just put it to pay for it and they just swipe it and put it in the bag or whatever it is they put it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good rule.
I didn't know that it could be illegal. Like what would they do? Arrest you for stealing prior to, because you didn't pay yet?
I don't know.
Wild.
I feel like most hikers, a lot of hikers hike to eat the junk food that, like, it gives them a free pass to eat all the. I'm one of them, or at least I was back in my heyday. Sounds like you're eating cleaner on trail than I eat off trail, which is very impressive.
I eat cleaner on trail than I do off trail.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it difficult to get enough calories eating? Like if you're not hungry, I feel like that's never a problem for me on trail. My hunger is always flaring up. Probably I'm eating too much sugar, but
yeah. So this is got to be a multi-part answer, and it irritates a lot of people in some way, but I make up for it in many ways. I have a really slow, I believe, I've never been tested, I don't know how you test this, but I have a really slow metabolism, so I actually only need 2,000 calories a day on trail.
Wow.
And
I would assume you're burning more than 2,000 calories.
Yeah, but I'm totally stable in my weight, so that's all I have. And then Wombat has up to about between 700 and 1,000, my dog, Wombat. So it could be that because I'm carrying extra weight, because I have the dog, and because my day is longer because I'm accommodating for him, I don't do the same mileage that everyone else does. I aim to do somewhere between 30 and 40 kilometers a day, which I was going to convert before I got here and forgot to.
I feel like it's roughly half, 1.6 to 1.
It's like 3 to 5.
We'll call it 22 miles is 35 kilometers.
It's like 1.5, right?
Maths.
No, sorry, half.
Yeah, it's 0.62 is the conversion.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I don't like, I think that people that hike in different styles. For me, I don't go the big distances, like I'm not trying to get the hike done under whatever goal people often have that I've encountered on these official trails. It's just not my style.
Mm-hmm.
So that probably also impacts why I don't have to eat. Like I've met guys that eat up to 7,000 calories a day, and I'm like, whoa.
I mean, in some ways it sounds really nice that it keeps your pack weight down significantly because, my pack is outrageously heavy because of all the sugar I'm putting in it. So
yeah, and mine's heavy because I'm carrying like a first aid kit for a dog and like extra additional pieces for him as well. So I guess it all equals out. My pack is with 3 days of food. I don't know what it is, the base weight, but with 3 days of food, it's 40 pounds. It's not light.
Yeah.
With Wombat, how are you resupplying his food? Because I imagine when you're going through South America or even some of the small towns along the CDT, like the options for human food aren't even that like strong or varying. So how do you make sure that the next spot you're going to stop at, you're somewhere where there will be dog food?
He eats half of everything I eat except for snacks.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So he just has exactly what I have.
He doesn't have like special dog food?
No.
Really?
No, because the other thing with that is that you know how you get into town sometimes with food left over? Do you? I do.
Yeah,
I
a
do.
couple Cliff Bars and a pack of ramen.
Yes.
The same food every time.
Yeah, the crap ramen.
Yeah.
So, so if I was carrying special dog food for Wombat, then that would happen with not just my food, but his food as well. Whereas if I'm just giving him my pre-allocated amount, then we have no leftovers. He's basically eating my leftovers.
Is it hard making sure that he gets the nutrition he needs? Because I know that like human nutrition and dog nutrition are different. I've looked into making like raw dog food or just like the homemade dog food, and they want you to put like liver and stuff in it. But based on like what they need versus humans, is that hard to find options?
So Wombat was born in South America, which is to say that he has a pretty strong constitution, and his vet, she likes to say he's got a lot of rigor. So, and he's also so fussy, like in the weirdest of ways. So, no, he's usually really healthy, and occasionally he'll get cramps, which just there's a supplement that you can get for dogs that you can put into cooked food. And it helps to balance out, kind of like taking magnesium on trail. And yeah, I mean, he really prefers to eat what I'm eating. He will not eat raw meat, for example, or eggs or anything that, like if I won't eat it, he's like, me neither.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
When you say he's from South America, did you get him on this trip?
Yep.
Really? How'd that happen?
So I'd always planned to get a dog. My blog name is Tangles and Tail, and I wanted to do that for company, but mainly for safety, because there are regions that I passed through where being a single female really elevates your exposure to risk. And in the same line of thought, I also was very aware that 4 people every year begin this journey on average to attempt to walk the length of the Americas, but usually everybody quits in the first year because the difficulty in the southern Argentinian section it's pretty rough. I mean, mentally it's difficult because a lot of it is open down area, so you just don't feel like you're making progress. Actually, there was this one time I thought I'd take a break at a telegraph pole, so I aimed to get to it by lunchtime, and I didn't reach that pole until the lunchtime the following day.
No.
So everything is really stretched. It's really mentally tough, but also then you've got winds up to 85 miles an hour. I back then had so I started hiking all wrong. Like, I was not very experienced. So my pack weighed half my body weight. And at one point I was swooped up by the wind and thrown down the road by the wind. And I shouldn't have, how did that happen when I was weighing, I don't know what 90 kilos is. We need a calculator here. But I weighed 60 and my pack.
I'm not going to guess that conversion.
Yeah.
Ways to insult my guest. My bad math.
It's okay, I wouldn't know.
It's 300 pounds.
Yeah. It's about 200 pounds.
There you go. Yeah, so that's a lot of weight.
You didn't weigh 200 pounds.
No, I was weighing 2/3 of that and half of that.
Oh, that's including your
2/3
pack.
of that, and my pack was
Got it.
half my
I
weight.
was like, you said it's consistently. I'm not seeing it.
You're
What are you
hiding
talking
it.
about?
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so with all of that in mind, I didn't want to then get a dog and be like, I don't want to do this anymore, quit, and then have to deal with the dog, like it's really expensive. It's going to be really expensive to bring Wombat home with me. I have to go through a lot of customs protocol, and it takes 7 months. So all of that in mind, keep in mind I'm from Australia, which is an island that doesn't have things like rabies. So we're really strict about importing animals.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, my coworker, it's so funny. My coworker's actually dealing with this exact scenario right now. He dog sits for a family in New York City that has to move back to Australia, and he's going to be adopting their dog. And I was like, how do they leave? Like, the dog's, like, not a puppy. Like, how are they just, like, letting you adopt it and not bring it back? And he talked about how in Australia, apparently you have to, like, quarantine the dog in, like, a government facility for, like, 6 months because of rabies things, is what they told him.
So that's old.
Oh.
Very old. No. You start the process 7 months beforehand. You get your first, it's called a Tidler test, which checks for the antigens of rabies. 6 months later, you do a second one to see that they're still present in the same form. That gives you the clear and a permit. And then you can, once you've got that permit, you have I think it's a year to travel over to Australia. Once you get to Australia, you have to go directly to Melbourne, which is where the quarantine centre is, Look at these logistics that I just
No, this is
ramble off.
great.
And it's 10 days.
Is it?
Unless there's something wrong with the dog that's being picked up that wasn't detected through the screening process. But the screening process is designed so that your dog comes in, the vets, and it's really cheap. It's $1,000 Australian to have your dog with a vet getting checked every day and all those tests redone over that 10-day period. What's expensive is getting the flight, because for it to be the cheapest, you need to be on the flight at the same time as the dog, and you can't, depending on, and it's the same going through New Zealand, you cannot transit. You have to go, so let's say we fly out of Los Angeles, I'd have to fly directly into Melbourne. I can't transit through any of the other, like Sydney or Brisbane, because they're trying to contain any bio risk.
So the couple that's giving him the dog is an older couple, so maybe they do know the older rules, but this is great for him because he freaking loves this dog, so.
Yeah, that's quite the conundrum.
No, it's good for him. He's really excited to get it, but that's good to hear that the rules have changed, because the way he described it sounded maybe not that fun.
I think that was, I think that's like 10 years old, maybe 15 years preceded. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So you mentioned getting Wombat for protection. We should add the context that Wombat is a blue heeler. Is he a good security dog? Because he looks too sweet and small to be like necessarily he's not like a German Shepherd.
Right, you are. He is useless. Yeah, actually, people often say to me that he would for sure protect me, and you know dogs, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. No, we have been in situations where he has just slept through like risky moments or gone up to people. So actually, and like, I knew, like, so cattle dogs they are known to have a bite drive, right? So, and they usually stick to just one person that they truly want to listen to. But Wombat's definitely not a purebred. He's quite big for starters for his breed, and he has the personality of a Labrador with some blending of blue heeler. So I don't really know what the mix is, but you're right. However, when I was in areas where I was uncomfortable, I used to just put him on a very short lead, and I would make up this story about how my husband's very jealous and he gave me his dog because he's worried about me, all that stuff that you spin as a female traveler. And, I'm trying to like hold him up, a short lead to make him look aggressive, and he's like wagging his tail and whole body's wobbling. But people, you tell someone that you don't know for sure if he's going to bite or not, and the people immediately are like, oh.
Yeah.
And interestingly, everyone said when they saw him, lobo, which means wolf. Oh. And I can kind of see why they would see that. I've never associated it, but it's true. That breed has dingo originally in the blend, which is an Australian native wolf.
Huh.
When you mentioned that Wombat maybe hasn't risen to the occasion on some occasions where he maybe could have, what are some examples?
So I don't like labouring on this too much because of instilling stigma issues. There's some areas where I have had to pass through where the risk is higher because of cartel activity, and where I've been intercepted by a cartel.
Ooh, tell us.
So in many regions, this is really tricky because for the most part, where I've travelled, it has been really wonderful, and this is not the bulk of the experience at all. And there are places that you should just never go, so you wouldn't encounter this as a regular traveller. But because I need to connect the areas, there are places where I have fringed on and sought out support crew, for example. And it just happened, unfortunately, that when I raised money to get a support team together to help me not only safely pass through, but it was summer in the Chihuahuan Desert, that I was doing, the fundraiser was doing really well. We were trying to raise 50,000 Australian dollars, which would have covered the cost of a van, which I think go for like $100 a day, and food, and the cost of the people that were coming to switch in and out to support me through that section. However, at the same time, it was an election, and I was concerned that because the front runner of the running for the president position was a woman, so every time I went through town, the municipality wanted to take photos with me and be like, look, we support female endeavours. And then I was concerned that because I was getting exposure in the media that someone might Google my name and see, whoa, she's trying to raise $50,000 and think that's USD and that I'm full of cash and that, and target me. So I got in contact with the help desk at GoFundMe, and I said to them, can we do a skin of my fundraiser, and every time it hits 10,000, we'll just put in a redirect link and switch it over. And the person that I spoke to was like, no, that's not possible, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, it is possible. This is like my area of expertise, one of, in my previous work. If you're not able to make that decision, can we elevate it to talk to somebody, because it's a matter of my personal safety? And so somebody else stepped in and was like, yeah, we can totally do that, no worries. And then this other person shut down my fundraiser. And so by the time...
The lower level person?
Yes.
Wow.
And so, and at the same time, I'm hiking and dealing with all of the risks that I'm dealing with, so I can't keep an eye on it. And I'm out of reception until I get into the next town. So by the time I get into the next town, I've lost a week of fundraising and basically lost all the traction. So we didn't raise enough funds. This is a very long way of saying that we had to make some shortcuts on how to spend the money to help keep me safe. And a friend, well-intended, reached out to me saying, look, we can help you out. We have a van. It's got no mechanical issues. We'll have it checked over by a mechanic for you. And you can use it, and we'll charge you like a fraction of the price because it's an older van. And so I thought that would be a great solution, except they didn't get it checked over. Oh, no. And this van, are you ready to hear the horror?
Yes.
It had a fuel leak, so we were losing a full tank of fuel every 2 days. The handbrake was disengaged. The locks didn't lock. The cooling system sprouted a leak, and then the radiator cracked. And then the engine literally dropped out of the van because the engine mounts sheared. The batteries turned up not working, so all of the fridge stuff that we needed to have cold things in the desert never worked.
Is there any part of the vehicle that worked? Because that's an insane...
Not even the indicators or the hazard lights.
Was this a friend that lent it to you?
It was.
A former friend.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, this is like a through line of my hike. People really want to help. And this is one of those things I talk about called detrimental optimism, where people just want to force a solution. So they will tell you anything to help you, to deburden you. And what they're actually doing is putting you in astronomical, exponential amounts of risk, because here we are in an unreliable vehicle. And when the mounts sheared, we were in the middle of nowhere, absolutely, completely exposed. And not only that, but we'd crossed a state border. So all of the networks that I had for police to help us we were out of their jurisdiction. So we were completely on our own and at the mercy of whoever stumbled upon us.
Do you think the friend wanted to help, or they gave you that Deathmobile as like an axe to grind or something like that? That's a pretty beat down van that you're describing.
It's like, so what I'm not telling you is that they are living overseas at the moment, and they've been away from it for a while.
Okay.
And one of them came to get it inspected and check it out and clean it out and all of that sort of stuff, but just none of that happened. In fact, my friend who came to collect the vehicle and bring it to me to meet me so that she would be the first person, she's like 25, long blonde curly hair, like gorgeous. You need her to be safe, right? Because she's a target. When she went to cross the border, we had all of these issues, and they went to enormous lengths to help us get it across, because you need the owner to go across the border with you. So they, it was really complicated. And they left drugs in the car.
No.
Yeah.
What kind of drugs?
Just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I don't need them. I'm just wondering, like, some drugs you get stopped with, I imagine, would be a lot worse than other drugs you'd get stopped with.
Yeah, okay. So we talked to the police about it. I won't say, just in case. I don't want any I'm already telling bad stories and putting shit on someone. But Bailey would have gone to jail.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Sounds like an episode
Where
of
did
Breaking
they find
Bad.
the drugs? Were they underneath the engine when it fell out?
No. So the person the husband that was helping us get the car across in the first place, like the one he was meant to check the van out and clear it out and everything, couldn't find his wallet. So Bailey went through the whole van trying to find his wallet and found the first lot. And then the other...
The first lot?
Yeah. Don't
How
worry.
much drugs are we talking
This was
about?
the best shit show you could write into a film,
Yeah.
honestly.
Are you actually being tricked into smuggling drugs across
it sounds like you
countries
were
for
set up
someone
to
else?
fail.
You know, and I really, in my true hopes, hope this is not the case. However, it's been suggested that we had a lot of insurance for the van, and so there is perhaps a suggestion that they were hopeful that the van wouldn't come back.
Interesting.
Yowza.
While this sounds like the complete story, the part that got us into it was times that Wombat hasn't acted appropriately. So I imagine that this then gets worse.
Are you a lawyer?
No.
Talk about keeping it on the straight.
No, I'm just really interested in the story.
Okay, so we are now at the stage where all of the things are broken, and if anything else goes wrong, we are going to abandon ship. The problem with that is that we had all of this gear in the van, so that's why we stuck with it for so long. Whenever I'm traveling through particular areas, I usually check in with police and community members to see if it's safe to continue and if we're going to be stepping on anyone's toes, because I've mainly been floating through areas where it overlaps with Indigenous areas, and in Latin America it's fundamental that you get the permission of the local people to go through, or you'll get kicked out literally, and that's happened to me. And then you can't. That was probably one of my hardest lessons learned. And then you have to reroute because you suddenly can't access a whole section. But the advice we were given was that we were fine to go from that point onward, and there was no further permission that we'd need to seek, and I should not have listened. So we got to a small town where we then were continuing and making a real push before the next switch over of support crew. And I was walking, the van was ahead, and I spotted a spotter who had a radio and were announcing that we were there. So immediately I knew this was problematic. And so about 10 minutes later, a whole caravan of vehicles came speeding up to me. So maybe 5 trucks and a caravan, literally a caravan. And they wound down the window, and a plume of weed smoke comes billowing out of the car, and everyone has massive assault weapons. And they're asking me what I'm doing, and I do my usual, oh, hi, how are you? What are you up to? Da, 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 da. Do you live here? Like, I'm trying to buy some time.
Yeah, he might bite.
And also, he was not with me because it was the middle of the day. It was really hot, summer, desert, arid, for your imaginings. And but what I was really doing is counting, like how many people, trying to work out who is the person of authority. I already knew that in the area there were 2 different groups. There's the cartel and the enforcement group. So I was trying to get an eye on who these people were. And then they're like, okay, no worries. Yeah, we're working. And they kept going. And then they went up to the van. And clearly I need to talk to a psychologist about this because I can feel myself holding my breath, right? By the time I get to the van, the person that was supporting me had been pulled out of the van and was up against it in a position that looked like they might be executed, with 5 people around him with their assault weapons, yelling all sorts of questions and so on and so forth. And the leader had a bag of cocaine in his hand, and he was snorting cocaine in between all of this, right? So
this is straight out of Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
right
this
here.
is wild.
Yeah, it was really, really intense.
Do you still have the drugs in your car?
God, no. No. That was gone before we crossed the border. And so anyhow, how did this play out? So they were convinced that they were paranoid that I was from the States and that I was there from the government spying on them, and that I had a Spanish translator with me because the person that was with me is fluent in Spanish.
Couldn't they tell by the accent that maybe?
You would think. But they could not. No. Normally people can, because actually people who speak Spanish who are from the States usually have a very distinctive accent, because people here learn to say E with the incorrect phonetic. So they'll say, as an example, do you have is tiene, but typically people from the States will say tiene, tiene, which is confusing to me because I feel like that's such an Australian way of saying it. So usually people know right away that I'm not from the States, actually. Anyhow, it turns out they're their enforcers, and it turns out I've been in the news a lot because of the election, and a whole bunch of things went right for us. The cartel leader actually came out. They went through our phones, and what was really interesting is that because I'd been through the Darien Gap, which is this notorious area in the middle that connects South and Central America between Panama and Colombia, they were very paranoid about police, but what they didn't know is that the police in the Darien Gap wear camo. So they don't look like police. And they'd gone through both of our phones, cleared everything on both phones, except that on mine, they left a photo up. And when the cartel boss came back, all of a sudden, they went from not refusing to talk to me because they wouldn't accept that I was the expedition leader, to not being allowed to talk to anybody. So the enforcers weren't allowed to talk to either of us. They had to give us back all of the things they'd confiscated, which was like laptop and drone and anything that looked fun. And the boss would then completely ignore my support person and was directly talking to me like, you're okay. We just need, you're just in an area that isn't safe because there's a dispute over land holdings, which is common actually. And these are the questions that I would usually ask going through a community. And this is how you stay safe, is by going and asking these questions in the first place. So this should never have happened, truly. But we'd been given bad advice. And he was very happy to show me on the map where I needed to go. I asked him, because I'd worked out who he was, if I would need permission from any other landholders going further north, where would I be most safe. And that was, even though it was quite a terrifying experience, it was also made us feel like we had some level of protection now up until we reached the States. We get back into the car, we get watched to make sure that we do leave, but the enforcement group have taken off by this point because they've been dismissed. And both of us open our phones and discover, as I was telling you, that our entire phones, because they had an IT expert that they called in, and everything had been cleared on our phones except that there was this one photo of me in the Darien Gap doing first aid on one of the police officers. But of course it didn't look like a police officer.
Why'd they leave that photo, do you think?
I think it was a message, like we think that you're connected to people we know.
Whoa.
Like in a good way? Like we know those people, or in a bad way?
Well, I think in a way that it benefited me.
Yeah.
I guess doubling down on Chauncey's question, what do you presume? Whether it's like your, is this a friendship, or is this like you're connected to? I felt like they had accidentally aligned themselves with me because they weren't sure that I was influential in their world. This is all me just guessing, but the supposition is because it went from no one wanting to look at me in the eyes or talk to me or ask me any questions to suddenly only the boss talking to only me, and then showing me on the map and spending time and being excruciatingly polite to me and like complete manners and loveliness. Yeah. So I want to back up a little bit because you mentioned being like reluctant to want to talk about these stories based on the stigma. This is a pretty fucking terrifying story. Like anyone that is considering this should hear this story because like you were...
Totally. I guess my fear is that, my concern is that, so there's 2 occasions specifically in Mexico where I mention having problems. what I'm doing is not what an average traveler would do. And there is a lot of stereotypes about Mexico, which I just feel are fairly unfair. You know, Mexico City is one of the safest places to visit. They've got police that are set up to specifically assist tourists. And my experience was wonderful, but I'm also going into places that can be really delicate. And I'm very whimsical and I love to joke around. So people often don't appreciate that I have a very rich history and experience in project management and risk management. So I don't go into these areas lightly. I have made contacts over years and maintained them before even arriving to these places so that I can get assistance when I need it. And so I had been working side by side and we hadn't made a single mistake until someone who was well-intended, again, not hearing the question or just wanting to have the answer to make my life easier. Otherwise, it just would never have happened. But I do say to people, you know, if you are nervous about traveling to Latin America, firstly, stick to places where the tourists go and you should be fine. Learn to not have, like, all of my stuff, because I'm in remote places, whenever I get anything new, I deface it. I put gaffer tape on it over places that don't have any problems to make it look like it's been repaired. And keep an eye on the street dogs. If street dogs are super aggressive in an area, you can pretty well assume that you're in an area you shouldn't be in.
I understand where you're coming from when you say, like, oh, I don't want to make it seem, you know, worse than it is or unsafe, when, like, a lot of these places are quite safe. I think for, like, at least for this podcast and for the audience that we talk to, a lot of people, like, that will listen to this aren't going to listen to this in a way of, should I visit Mexico City? They're going to visit this, or they're going to listen to this in a way of, should I add this hike to my bucket list of hikes that I want to do? And I think when talking to that kind of audience, it's super insightful to hear these kinds of stories, because it's not like the AT where I could just pick up my backpack and go hike it, right? Yeah. Like you said, you put in a tremendous amount of work to make these connections and get the right information going into these places. And I think it would almost be a disservice to not point out all those things, because then you could send someone down there to start it that's like, hey, here we go, a new trail.
And I love what you were saying, because, and this is where this story started, Bailey and I posted about these two areas, and we got a grilling from somebody who's bike packed through about how they're sick of people doing these reels for clickbait. And then we did a follow-up reel about the statistics of what the level of risk actually is with credible referencing, so that you can understand that you can go these places but don't go in or pretending that they are completely safe. There are places that you shouldn't go. And there's no reason, like, you know, it's like someone once said, millions of people travel, literally, this was when I was in Colombia, millions of tourists arrive to Colombia every year and don't get stabbed. This is in response to someone who had been scared into whether or not they should go or not after they'd booked a trip. So I guess it's all about having information, making good decisions, and not trying to be the hero that goes somewhere first where they're not meant to go.
Also, a situation where your support partner is being held up by gunpoint while the cartel leader is ripping cocaine. That's not clickbait. Like, that's a terrifying scenario. Yeah. Well, like, to accuse someone of you doing that for attention is an insane accusation.
And I didn't cover that story on social media at all, actually. I was kind of like, that's one that will be better left to a book, because you can't cover that in 90 seconds in a way that's helpful. And also we had to recover. If you're ever in a traumatic situation, one of the best things that you can do post scenario is to take turns where you tell the person that was also there with you what happened from your perspective, and you let them talk all the way through the story without interrupting them so they can get it out, and then you take your turn, and that has been shown to drastically reduce post-traumatic stress. And also helps you consolidate what happened and recover.
That makes sense, because I'm sure both of you are probably blacking out parts of it just because it's all going so fast and you're so just heightened in the moment.
And I think, though, also the way it finished in a very friendly way. So I guess, and in a way where we had the blessing, I suppose you could say, to continue. That was kind of a level of protection for us.
Do you
No, go ahead.
do you contemplate quitting this adventure at that point? Like, how do you recover after something like, I know you said there was a sense of peace knowing that like you went from being hunted to being protected, but how do you not know that you're going to step in the wrong territory immediately thereafter?
I did. A week later, I got into the United States and someone threatened to shoot me, and I was on state forest
Whoa.
property. Yeah.
Where is this?
Like a person like in their
Mexico.
yard, or like a random, like, is
No.
this man versus bear in the woods?
They so we had set up a place to camp for the night in the state forest, and there's a road that goes through to a small community. It's called no man shame. It's nearby a town called Reserve in New Mexico. And they have like a little cutout section inside the state forest where they have a little community, and you know, they're the kind of people that have pirate flags in their trucks, you know, like
militia.
they're a unique group, shall we say. And so actually this was I had culture shock coming into the States when I got here because of this experience. But it wasn't just that. It was that one person came up and yelled at us and said, you know, don't you understand? This is private property, blah. And I'm like, well, there's a county sign on this road and it's on the map. It says it's not private. And then another person came up and said, we're going to shoot you if you don't leave. So then I went to the police because I was like, isn't that what you do? Mm-hmm. And the police were like, you're probably on private land. And I'm like, what is going on here? I'm like, no, let me show you. And then they're like, oh, you weren't. Interesting.
Interesting.
Right. And then the next day, because I was so nervous, like, I guess the thing is, if you have a support person with you, you're kind of responsible for that person. So I want to make sure that I'm making the right decisions. And so there's a lot weighing on me during this period. And so I get to another road that's got signs of saying, and I'm not used to seeing these signs, and I've just come in from a place where everyone invites you in for dinner and lets you sleep on their floor kind of thing. So I get to a road and it says no hunting, no shed hunting, no hiking, all of these things that are totally new to me. And I'm really worried. So I need to flag someone down to ask them, hey, can I go to Pie Town using this road, or am I going to be upsetting someone? And the first car that comes along, I wave them down in a way that's not hitchhiking, but like, I need you to stop. I have to ask a question. And the person in the car looks at me and shakes their head and keeps driving. It was the sheriff.
Welcome to America, I guess.
However, then I spoke to someone who came along, and they're like, look, this is just a really unique area. It's not like this in the rest of the place. You've unlucky. You've just stumbled across a certain particular place where it's like this here.
Is this your first time in the States?
I mean, it's the first extended time. Yeah, I have been, before then I'd been in New York, which, you know, people are like, oh, New York's not really the States either.
That's where I'm from.
Agree with that.
But, you know, I don't think that I would have needed this experience to experience culture shock anyway, because there were just a lot of things that were different and new for me. Like, firstly, I was speaking English and I could understand what people were saying for the first time in a long time. I can speak Spanish, but it's not fluent and conversational. Well, I can get by. I can have a connection with someone and form a relationship with them, but it's really a lot of concentration, right? So I come here and all of a sudden, rather than just being able to deliberately not listen to what someone's saying, which is usually like that it's not safe, you shouldn't be doing this on your own, all of that sort of stuff, now I can hear it. So suddenly it means more, if you know what I mean. Like, so the impact of people's conversations are heavier.
They could have been telling you they're going to shoot you the whole time.
Yeah, totally. And I would
didn't know. You're like,
like,
thanks, have a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then other things were happening. Like, I could...
Happens to the best of us.
So the other things that happened were, you know, I could flush the toilet paper again. And little things that were just a little bit jolting. Like, I could drink water out of a tap. So, like, all of these, I was also shedding bits of stress that I didn't really realize I was carrying. And that really leans itself to, and also you just assume that because we speak English that we are starting from the same perspective on life, when really truly that's just not the case. Or people won't understand me when I have like these weird turns of phrases that are super Australian. Like the Canadians are having so much fun with me because they just think I'm hilarious. Like someone the other day said to me, "Oh yeah, I was real pie-eyed," and I'm like, "What do you mean? Drunk? Is that a thing here?"
No.
I've never heard
it's
that.
uniquely Canadian.
Pie-eyed.
I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of
How
cute.
does that make sense, though?
I don't know.
I assume your eyes go wonky. I use shark eyes quite a bit.
I get little apple pie slices in there. That's when you know.
Yeah.
Sauced.
Okay, so one expression that I use that people usually love here is when I'm venting frustration that someone is telling me how it is or like what I should do or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know you from a bar of soap. Like, yeah,
like
right?
that one.
Like, and actually as a hiker, I think that's really relevant. Yeah. So there's lots of things where people have kind of crooked their head at me like, I don't understand what you just said.
Yeah.
And so there's just lots of struggle where I didn't think there would be struggle, even though it's a fun struggle. And so, yeah, that was my entry into the States. Shall we move on to something more positive?
No,
I'm
definitely
having a good
not.
time,
Yeah,
yeah,
that doesn't get clicks. No, I'm joking.
We drive the ship here.
I'm not going to be allowed back in.
Let's turn the page backwards. We haven't even talked about anything about your life prior to this adventure.
Yes, I want to know about the risk management.
Yeah.
stuff.
What were you doing previously? Like, what was your adventuring experience? Give us the full background.
Okay, so I grew up in Australia and I was always eager to be adventurous, but I was also an unco kid.
A what kid?
Yes. Uncoordinated.
Unco, okay.
Unco. I was an unco. That's what we would say. And that was code for I had a hard time being included in like multi-sport and all that sort of stuff, and I was just too eager. Like I really, really wanted to play, but netball, for example, this kid cannot stop when I'm running. So like I would always cause a foul because I'd steamroll into the person that was like all up in my face trying to block me, you know? Like
Netball, is that soccer, football? No, netball.
what?
I just was smiling as if I knew.
Do you know basketball?
Yes. Heard of that
Netball
one.
is where you can't travel with the ball. So you catch the ball and you have
Ah.
to stop. Hence my problem
Yeah.
because like
Ah.
I can't just suddenly stop. It's really bad for your knees. Anyone that's got knee problems, people usually say, "Oh, you played netball, huh?"
Yeah. I'm picturing it being more physical if you can't dribble. Like, are you running through people? You
Sounds
mentioned
like
that
You
handball.
are not allowed. That's the other problem I had.
Yeah.
You can't touch people, so you have to stop. Like it takes a lot of. It's kind of like equestrian without the horse.
Yeah.
You've got to be really precise with your
Yeah.
with your feet. So you throw the ball to each other, and then if you catch it mid-air, you can't then touch your feet on the ground 3 times. Like you have to stop.
Oh, it's like handball. That's what they called it in gym class.
Yeah, but that's like a ball like this, right?
Yeah,
A
yeah.
fist
But you got
size.
three. You got 3 steps.
So this is a basketball size, but it's not a basketball. It's softer.
Mm.
I had no idea that wasn't here. Look at this culture.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah. I'm usually pretty learned on
We can
other
offer you
countries'
football.
sports.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You like football?
Are we talking soccer or are
Nope.
we talking union or are we
Nope.
talking AFL?
Nope.
Australian Football
We're
League.
talking the one that you don't use your feet, except for sometimes.
I'm so confused.
It's okay.
American
Back
football.
to Lucy being an unco.
Yes. Tell me more about you.
Yeah, so that's that in terms of the adventurousness. And then as I grew up, I fell into rock climbing and canyoning and really loved it. So I was part of a weekend crew and we would go off into like rock climbing or canyoning through some of the most remarkable places in Australia. I highly recommend it. But I wasn't really ever the leader either. So like I kind of was just invited to go along with some of my best buddies, and that's how I got into this adventurous side. In terms of risk management, so I became a neuroscientist out of university, but then moved into science translation or science communication. And then after some period moved into not disaster management, but managing high risk or understanding high risk profile and providing that information to the different industries that need it, if that makes sense. So I was working with people who are mathematicians and engineers and experts in things like fire hazard, earthquake, tsunami. Australia has the 24-hour Tsunami Watch Centre that monitors for the world and then provides warning to countries if they're going to have a incident.
How'd they get that job? That's kind of cool.
It was wonderful, honestly.
Not how'd you get that job, just like how'd Australia get that?
Oh, I don't know the history.
You get to watch tsunamis.
I guess because we have a really low exposure to that. Australia is not overlaying 2 plates because we're over 1. We still have faults. We have minor earthquakes, but that reduces our risk significantly to tsunami, which means that of all of the people who are going to be able to continue during an event, we're the ones that wouldn't be affected. So perhaps that's why.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Do you understand what I mean? So if the service centre was somewhere that was about to be inundated by a tsunami.
Right, like what good is it?
Yeah.
How does this relate to you being aware of GoFundMe's capability of redirecting?
So I managed all of the communications for the entire division for that. So that meant managing PR, anything that was written, the website, digital fly-throughs and 3D visualizations and animations and games and any public stuff that goes towards education. And so within all of that, I got a lot of risk training. I also worked for the council as one of my first jobs, the city of Darwin, which is in the northern part of Australia, which has a really high risk to cyclones and severe winds, and was a part of that emergency team as well. And so through all of that, and then doing project management as a diploma, and then working with people who have left the Defence Force and have their own security agencies, I was then trained. And then when I decided to walk the length of the earth, as you do, I really focused in on I did a whole project management thing, which I actually took a screenshot of to show you like what I thought would be involved and what's actually involved.
Did that get wiped on the phone?
Did it what?
The screenshot.
Things didn't get wiped when I said that everything was shut down. I just mean they closed the apps down as they went through systematically.
I thought you had no contacts. I thought you had no photos.
Sorry,
I thought it was just that one photo and nothing else.
No.
I was like, that's a message.
We had all of the things on our phone that we were using to navigate, et cetera, but all of the apps and everything had been gone through and closed down. And then that one image.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, so over time, I mean, it's kind of like being on this hike. Over time, I've had to learn about new threats and then become comfortable with them. And I think the most evident recently example of that is bear awareness and hygiene and the exposure that you have as a solo hiker versus hiking in a group. And then having a dog, keeping up with. I actually work with and have had really great help from the top bear biologist in the United States who he's on almost all of your literature papers to give me really specific advice, because actually if you come upon a bear on your own as a hiker, your response should be dramatically different to if you're with a group. You should not yell at the bear if it's loitering. You should go back and find another way.
Interesting.
True for black bear and grizzly?
Oh, I think that they're just referring to grizzly.
Okay, yeah.
We'll have to chat with you after about this bear expert, because it's been our personal mission to try to do a bear episode.
Really?
And we're trying to find a bear person that will come to Denver.
I think we've been very particular about the bear people, which has been the limitation.
Well, we've got a dream list of bear people.
Who's your dream?
My favorite.
Wes Larson.
I don't actually remember who
the
Tooth and Claw.
Oh yeah, Tooth and Claw.
Yeah, so I'm working with his mentor.
Oh.
See? Before you don't think she has the connections. I'm in what he said. Let's talk after.
And it's
I
interesting.
remember saying that, by the way.
Zach said it.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the things that I am always looking out for is I come across a new hazard and then, I like to say everyone's scared of the dark, which is if you don't have knowledge about something, you're going to be fearful of it. And so then I just go into a deep dive of education. And the guys on Tooth and Claw are really busy. They answered a bunch of my questions to start with. And then I want to say they ghosted me, but they started following me on Instagram recently. So I feel a bit shit about saying that. But I exhausted their patience with my so I moved on to a new victim, and what a sucker he is, because man, have we had long emails.
That's funny. Okay, so you've now given us the context of, like, from a professional standpoint, why you were well suited for this style of adventure. Have you done anything in this vein prior to that, like from a
Like hiking?
like not just hiking, but like this style of hiking?
Do you know, I think the reason that I've been successful at not quitting is because I had never hiked properly. I mean, I had done, like, as you can gather, I'd done a lot of rock climbing and a lot of like day hikes, 3-day hikes. The longest hike I'd ever done before I started this was 10 days at school. So I think in my absolute ignorance of not knowing what I was getting myself into, that is probably because, you know, like I was describing Argentina, the first section is super difficult. You've got to plunge yourself into the unknown. You're going through, unless you go the roadway, you're going into a point of no return. And then I had to kayak 250 kilometers through what's considered some of the most hectic water regions to get onto the continental mainland. So
when you say hectic water regions, are we talking like crazy rapids, or are we talking there's crocodiles in the water?
Oh, neither. It's the Beagle, it's right by the Beagle Canal, which is just oceanic. So like big weather changes and big waves. I was lucky. Like, I went through it a really great time, and like literally was kayaking next to whales, seals, dolphins, penguins. An elephant seal popped up literally right next to me. And that was just normal all day, every day.
That would freak me out a bit. Like a whale, even seeing a whale on like a regular sized boat, if it got under you and it like didn't know you were up there and it came up and then you went, there's a whale on top of you.
Whales do this thing, I can't remember what it's called, where they pop their nose out of the water to get an idea of, like, to have situational awareness, so they would know that you're there.
Yeah, but what if you wear the nose?
But I guess for me, I get what you're saying because they're so big, but I've been whale sharking, which is where you go swimming by whale sharks and you see them come in really close to you and then they drift off. And these things are monsters, like they're giants in the ocean, but for some reason they seem to move so slowly when they approach you, even though they are going really fast. And having experienced that sense of peacefulness in the water right by them, I guess I had a possibly incorrect relaxed approach.
I would argue instead that maybe you're better at assessing the risk than I am.
It's what you don't know.
There you go.
Okay, so we've interviewed someone previously, Bethany Hughes from her Odyssey, who had done a similar thing, but I think hers included cycling and kayaking, so, you know, the Americas. But she had extensive thru-hiking experience before getting into this. Were you shitting your pants flying down to Argentina without?
Yeah, I mean, I was terrified. Yes. You know, it's one thing to talk about doing something and speaking to your confidence. And a friend of mine came to me and he just said, Lucy, just getting to the start line is a win. Just get to the start line and you can reassess from there. And I think that was really helpful. I think in some ways, like at some moments I would have found that really patronizing, but in the moment I was like really scared and was trying to decide whether or not I had to accept that death was a real possibility for me, when really you can't always, but you can do a lot to control the variables. And just like any new person going into thru hiking, which is exactly what I was, there are so many unknowns and you don't know how you're going to handle yourself in these situations. And actually that first week, 2 weeks, was terrible because I lost a bag of food, lost 5 kilos, came out with what a man described as like lips that looked like a chook's bum. Got over to Argentina, didn't have any of the currency. So every time I change countries, I have to change currency. I need to like get cash because they don't really, they operate in cash. I have to get a new SIM card so that I can communicate on my phone. Like, it's a really big deal, but I didn't really appreciate that until I was hiking towards the first town. And there was a shop, and I had been so hungry, you know, at this point, that I go up to this lady, and I just happened to have a few coins, and I like opened my hand at her like Oliver Twist and was like, can I buy anything with this, with my non-existent Spanish? And she just looked at me with the saddest eyes and shook her head, and I must have like looked really deflated, because she just took me by the arm. I'm like welling up thinking about this, and she sat me down and she made me a hot chocolate.
Aww.
And 2 empanadas, one that had king crab in it.
What?
Because that's where they get them.
That sounds so good.
It's the most, I mean, of course, anything probably would have been the most delicious, but that really truly was the most delicious thing I've ever eaten.
That sounds so tasty. And so wholesome.
I'm still trying to conceptualize what gets you to the starting point here, because okay, so you have a successful career back home, which gives you the skills to want to take this on, or I guess to be capable to take this on. Mm-hmm. I guess what is the desire to do this?
Okay, so firstly, I had discovered that George Megan was becoming the first man around the same time that I was born, and that in that time there hadn't been any woman that had been able to complete it. I didn't even know if any woman had attempted it at this point, and so I still don't actually. And I didn't think, like, at home we have this thing where you just do things to give it a go, and it's all a bit of a laugh. You know, there's this real fun playfulness about the outdoors and trying new sports, and like the best stories are the ones that go awry. So that's how you get them, right? So truly, I didn't think that I was going to get very far. I just wanted to try and last out that first year. And I wanted to be the benchmark for the next woman to come by and be like, well, this is my goal point, is just to get a little bit further than she got. But as it happened, in all of the moments of misery in that first year, every person that I met kept saying to me, we know you can do this. And in my head, I was very rude. I was just like, you don't know me from a bar of soap. Because I really, every town I wanted to quit. Fortunately, I didn't speak Spanish, so I couldn't figure out how to get onto a bus, because the next airport was like so far away that it would take me a year to get there anyhow. And by that stage, I had like relaxed and settled into it. I mean, it's not like when I got to the CDT, someone asked me what I thought of the trail, and honestly, my response is, this is the easiest trail I've ever hiked. And I know that it's really difficult for other people, but for me, I've dropped at this point so many different risks and threats that I have been managing without really realizing that this is the burden that sits over the top of traveling. And I still am chased by the fear of my visa running out, or stumbling across a protest and not knowing. Or for example, you might not know that as a foreigner it's a federal offence for me to smoke weed, so I can be deported for that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Even here in Colorado, where it's legal?
Because as a foreigner, I'm treated under federal law, not state law.
Huh.
So there's so many, and a lot. Like, I've spoken to many travelers, and they have no idea of that, because they don't know that they need to learn about the different laws. We can be deported for attending a protest or for engaging in political activity. So it's really like, these are things where, can you imagine, I have come all of this way, and then a silly mistake like that could cost me.
What are some other things? Because I feel like the one thing that stinks is, like, you don't know what you don't know, right? So it's like, how do you even know to look for some of the things that you don't know if you don't even know to look for them because you don't know about them? So
well, a really good, like, something that's very helpful in traveling is, and I know that the States and Canada have this as well. In Australia, it's called Smart Traveller. It's a government website that gives you advisories about what you need to know about in each country. And if you're wanting to build a risk assessment of where you want to go, that is exactly where you should start, because it is always a little bit exaggerative about safety. However, it will tell you what kind of contagious illnesses or tropical illnesses, what vaccines that you need, what currency, what political issues, what areas you should avoid, where you shouldn't go, scams, all of the things that they make a very good effort. Each of these I actually often read multiple, like, of the sites from from different perspectives.
So what does it
Very
say
helpful.
about the U.S.? Don't smoke dope. Don't say
Yeah.
anything bad about our supreme leader.
Okay, there's always a law section that tells you about you need to familiarize yourself with the laws. In some countries, you might go somewhere where they don't have the capacity. If it's a developing, this is not in any of the countries that I've been in, but if they don't have the capacity to deal with foreigners committing crime in their country, like something really serious like fraud, things that are typical like
Murder.
prostitution, murder, they can have you sent home and you can be tried in your courts under your laws.
We, because both of what we cover is U.S. trails and like Triple Crown trails and hiking in the U.S., will oftentimes get questions or encouragement from people who aren't from the U.S. to cover hiking in the U.S. from a foreign perspective more. Because that's always like, I mean, even me, if I were to go to Europe and hike, there's an unknown there because it's something I'm not as familiar with. For someone listening to this that might want to hike in the U.S. that hasn't spent a lot of time here, to Zach's point, what are some things like the don't smoke weed, like the don't do protests? What are some things that might not be super obvious that would be good tips to give someone?
Well, the first thing is, as an Australian, I had to have a B1, B2 visa, which is something that you have to pay $500 for to apply for, and if there's no refunds. And that might give you 6 months entry into the country when you arrive, depending on the agent that you speak to on entry. And currently, I don't know anywhere where the interview that you have to wait for to get that visa is less than 18 months.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually had to recently, I had to go home while I was on the CDT because my visa, because of COVID, and I'd lost 2 years on it. I had to go home to reapply for it. And the reason I had to go home for it is because I booked my application into Calgary. And once you've booked your application, you can't change venues. And on the website, it said that the next appointment was 18 months away. So I was early and did it with the appropriate amount of timing. These are things that I have on a big spreadsheet that I'm always watching out for. And when I got into the calendar to book it, the next appointment wasn't for 2.5 years.
Wow.
Wow.
So you're very organized. I'm curious what's inside. Is that a diary?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
you got goodies on the table.
So I caught a red-eye flight to get here and was concerned that I would fall asleep on the table in mid-sentence. And one of the things that people often don't consider is the risk management. So like while I was on the plane last night, I wrote out all of the different aspects that I have to consider. And we're talking right now about the administrative stuff, which is the visas and the laws and being careful about politics and knowing when elections are happening and staying away from situations like that, but then also that those aspects impact on me being in places out of season all of the time. So I mentioned, I don't know if you know this, I started the CDT in summer in New Mexico. It was hell.
What was your start date? Or
I
rough?
think it was around middle of August.
Ooh.
Yeah. Wombat said no, so I was on my own. He's really much better suited for snow. He loves snow. And then there's things like I haven't been able to access until now stores. So if I have gear failure, the way that I've been dealing with that, or the way that, because I'm moving across climates going north, the way that I've been able to change into winter gear or summer gear is 100% on travel mules. People who write to me and volunteer when they're coming from Australia to bring a bag of stuff for me. And I could send them things and then they could steal it, there's so much trust involved in a situation like that. But that is something that I never actually considered. I was like, I'll just solve that later. But I also didn't think I was going to outlast the year, so I didn't think that I'd have to change stuff. And then I have to know about different wildlife and plants that might hurt me, and things like yellow jacket wasps, which can kill you if they sting you in South America.
What?
Yeah, there are pumas, like mountain lions. There are
that's
snakes.
more believable. Yellow jackets can kill you in South America?
Mm-hmm. It's a different species. That's their colloquial
I didn't know to worry about
name.
that.
Scorpions, like all of these things that I've had to familiarize myself with. And then myself, I've had to familiarize myself with different health issues. Like the number of times I've either been like food poisoned, water poisoned, or worm. Like in Latin America, I didn't know that if you're living there, every 3 months you need to deworm yourself. So I go in to a doctor because I'm having a really bad week and I've like got food poisoning, I've got foot rot after 3 months of being in wet feet. And I've got like this stomach situation going on top of it. Like I had to go and repeat visit him because when I food poisoned myself, then the amoebas took over and then I had to do another course of antibiotics. And he's like, well, when's the last time you wormed yourself? And I'm like, not like when I was 7, I really like dogs. And they just looked at me like, what is wrong with you? Like you're meant to do that every 3 months.
What?
Because of the waterborne.
So did you have worms?
Yeah, lots. I've had them a lot.
Shut up.
Is that only for travelers, or is that the people who live there also?
Yeah, people. So you can actually buy the antibiotic just from like a corner store.
Wow.
Yeah, you need to take them every 3 months.
Let's say there's worms inside of you. This is a new concept for me. And you need to get rid of these
Let's
worms.
call him Frank.
And then, I'm picturing like a bunch. I'm picturing like an X-ray scan where it's just like
Frank and
worms.
friends.
Yeah, just lots
Oh,
of them.
okay. So you're thinking about a different kind of worm that's more in like the Polynesian regions. These worms are teeny tiny. You won't see them.
Okay.
And they say deworming, but it's more amoebas.
Got it. I was wondering if like you could see them in your poop or something after you started taking the medicine.
Not those kind. But you will feel if you do experience this. So normally travelers can go and they don't have a problem because they're not there for long enough for the population in the stomach to overtake, right? But if you're there for a while and you're sitting on the toilet and you're having hot flashes and you don't know if you're going to vomit or shit yourself, then you need to crawl down to a shop. And it works really quickly. The pill, like, you'll be fine by the night,
Wow.
like within half a day.
Wow. Are these the same kind of worms that dogs get?
No.
Do dogs get worms?
Those, I think you're talking about ringworms or maybe the other
Originally, I
worms.
was
There's a
talking,
few
like,
worms that they
earthworms.
get. And actually, there's a kind of worm that is called a hookworm that people with celiac, tried to see if people with celiac disease can be treated with this. And they did a study with a group of people who have celiac disease to see if that would help them. And I don't know, I didn't follow this any further because I moved out of this industry, but most of the people that were living with hookworm to improve their symptoms decided at the end of the trial not to take the kill pill, and they kept their worms.
Really?
Because they bonded with the worms, or
Yeah.
what was the decision?
Because they were feeling like they had a better tolerance for gluten.
Oh.
Fascinating.
Yeah, and then the other thing that I haven't mentioned on my risk management, I mean, there's a few things like stalkers on Instagram, but is Wombat. So I'm traveling and he needs his annual care. I need to be able to get to a vet occasionally. He has a 24-hour vet. He has his own first aid kit. I've had to learn how to do wilderness first aid on him as well.
What does his kit look like?
He travels with the worming, like the heartworming and flea and tick stuff, and then he also has a type of amoxicillin that's he's able to have if he needs antibiotics. He's got meloxicam in case he injures himself and needs an anti-inflammatory. And actually, there's a few things in my first aid kit that I can give him a lower dose of as well.
That's fascinating. Can you flip to a random page in that notebook and tell us a story about whatever's on it?
I could, but it's going to be pretty boring because it's a new book.
Oh,
But actually, I can. You know why? Because
Wait, do you write from back to front?
No, it's just that these are low priority things, and I'm about to start a planning session to get a whole bunch of work done, which means, but I had to skip ahead because I need to prioritize my reels. So as a result of the said van stories, I fell behind in social media. So if you go onto my social media right now, I'm in Wyoming. No, I'm not. I'm in Colorado. I've just gotten to Colorado.
And you're
So
halfway through Canada.
Yeah, so I'm literally a year behind.
Okay. Wow.
And I've had a really slow year, fortunately, because it means that I can catch up. But all of these are reels that I've now written and I'm about to record and make while I'm on break so that I can catch up and come back with a clean conscience. Because one of the things is that I've just committed my life, my finances, everything to this expedition, and I really need to be on my game when I finish so that I can actually make some money and recoup all of the everything that's gone into this. So, I mean...
Are you doing all of your own social media?
Just close your eyes and touch one? Yeah, I am. I wish that I was making enough money to, but I'm not. I'm not even really sustainable
They're really
yet.
well done. I would assume they were done professionally.
Thank you. That's quite the compliment.
Yeah.
I'm going to veer in a different direction. We got a very good cartel story. Do you have a standout animal encounter story?
Well, this is how I got in touch with Tom, actually, with the bear. So I made that mistake. You know how I was saying when you're a hiker on your own, you shouldn't yell out to a bear. So I didn't know that and came across a grizzly and was like, hey. And I got Wombat back on the lead and everything, and I rah. And this bear turned around and came back to me. And in close proximity, and because I'm an Australian, i.e. I'm an idiot, I was filming it. So I sent the video and I said, hey, don't be nice, just tell me, bluntly, so that I understand what I did wrong. And Tom writes back, oh, it was a small bear. And I'm like, that was a small bear? I'm having the major Australian moments. So I think that's probably, I've seen puma. In Panama, we saw 3 snakes a day, and coral snakes, really dangerous. Do you know in Panama they have flying snakes?
What?
Right?
That's my nightmare.
What do you mean?
and they have the nicest name.
How do
They're called
fly?
a paradise tree snake. They don't really fly; they glide, but they can glide 100 feet.
Stop it.
Which is the distance that you should have between your bear canister and your tent.
I don't like the look of them.
Fuck that.
And that one's in the air. I don't like that. Hold on.
I'm gonna have
hold on.
nightmares
I'm
tonight.
pushing play.
They also have
That's
sloths.
worse than the cartel.
Yeah, I didn't know snakes could get worse. Hold on. Let this ad go past. I need to see this thing fly. Bad radio, but I need to see this fly.
It's okay. We can pause.
Yeah, we won't do that, but
and while you're googling other things, I've seen quite a number of endangered species. Actually, I see so many amazing animals. I just saw the biggest group of moose of my life just finishing on the GDT, and I've seen resplendent quetzal, which if you are not a birder, you may not understand, but this is a bird that was really treasured by the Mayans. It's just enshrined in mythology, but they're endangered, and people spend their entire lives trying to see these birds. And because I was given permission to go through a trail in Panama that has been closed for restoration, I actually had them just above my head nesting on a branch.
No.
Crazy amazing.
Wow.
And they're beautiful.
Ah! Oh, he just jumped. He's in the air. Oh, I didn't. Hold on.
You're never sleeping again.
I'm never going to Panama.
This is the worst.
Wait, watch him. He jumps.
That's a shame because Panama has a trans-Panamanian trail and it is incredible.
Yeah, no, thank you.
How does Wombat not get bit by one of these scary snakes?
I have been super rigorous with his training. Actually, when we got here to the States, while I was doing that hot summer stuff, I knew he was not going to be suited for it. So I sent him to a trainer to reinforce all of the training to make sure that, now when we're in bear country, the research shows that you should just have them on a lead. So we pretty much live on a lead now, but lots of training.
Yeah,
We actually had a snake come in between the two of us. I went to check out a lookout and Wombat was behind me, turned around. This snake had come out onto the trail between me and Wombat, and I was able to say, stop, back, and he knows.
Good.
Are you familiar with Cam Bostock?
We're friends.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just yes.
Okay, so he's been on the podcast. Chauncey and I were doing all the stereotypical Australian questions for him. And he was saying that the animals in the U.S. are way scarier than the animals in Australia. Would you agree?
How could you not agree? Guys,
many reasons.
We don't have any predators. None. Not one except a crocodile, but they're only in one very small part of Australia.
That's not what we hear. We hear New Zealand doesn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of propaganda.
We hear
against
that
you guys.
everything in Australia tries to kill you.
You know, tell me about tell me anything. Any name.
Spiders?
That's not a predator.
Snakes?
Not a predator.
What do you mean? It's gonna try. If it can kill me, it's a predator.
Doesn't count.
If it can bite me and hurt me,
Okay.
that's a predator.
That's a
I
classic
get
Trump's
what
defense.
I get what you're saying, but they're not gonna stalk you down and eat you alive. Do you know
It's
that
almost
bears?
scarier, like
do
a
you know
spider,
that
you
bears
can't see
eat
it.
you
Yeah.
alive? Like they have no food etiquette.
Yeah, I know that's
That's
very rude of them.
disgusting.
Yeah. But at
Guys.
least you can see them coming, so there's a
Yeah.
little bit of agency in the process. Like a little spider, and you're sleeping, and it comes and nibbles on you. Like,
not
But
a
you
cool
ask
way to
anyone
go.
how they want to die, and they want to die in their sleep,
Here's the thing. I also don't think that it's fair for us to assume a spider's motives.
right?
true.
Or if
You know?
it's venomous. By the way, those snakes that you were just looking up, they're only mildly venomous.
Only.
You might get sick, but you're not going to die.
Interesting.
pour some-
That's a hot Australia take. I'll give you that.
Oh, those snakes are also not in Australia, but we do have snakes that can kill you.
Yes.
Since we're doom and glooming.
But they're not predators.
They're not, no.
No.
Well, that's the thing. Like, actually, Cam is going for the FKT right now on the Bibbleman track. I don't know if you've been following. Totally awesome. And he just yesterday had like 4 tiger snakes. They are dangerous, but they're right on trail, and they don't want to have anything to do. Like, they're scared of you. Like, they take off. Like, actually, I've done a lot of hiking, you know, in Australia on short hikes, not these crazy ass hikes that I'm on. And I've only ever seen a tail because people have always like alerted them and then they've taken off.
Okay.
Consider them like a black bear. 1 in a million might hurt you.
Yeah, but I'm not seeing 4 black bear a day. Like, that's the thing. Like, yeah, a mountain lion could stalk you and could go out of its way to have you.
But remember, while like Cam is running, so he is the person ahead, right? He's like me alone in the. I see 2 bears a week minimum. But then I have gone and done a bunch of the same trails that he's on now, and have only ever seen 1 tiger snake tail.
Okay, well,
We can
to
fight
each
about
their
it
own.
later.
No, that's fine.
I want to get into more of the nitty gritty of the adventure, but I'm still trying to decode what makes you tick. How much of this adventure for you is just like a logistical puzzle that you can solve? Because it seems like you're very well suited to that.
Yeah, it's 99% puzzle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it because for most backpackers, you know, they love the wilderness, the camaraderie. It doesn't sound like you're getting too much camaraderie out there.
To people that know me, they're kind of like, there's this little joke going around that I'm part sloth, part gazelle, because honestly, when I'm on the trail, it's all go, like go, go, go. And then when I get into town, I barely get out of bed because I have just got all of the logistics to do. And this year I really slowed down. Like I have done I think a third of what I did last year, because I just needed to recoup and be a human. So when people have been giving me great, like I went timber. Do you know what timber sledding is?
No.
Like, guys, this is so cool. It's where you have like a motorbike and you put skis under the front and a caterpillar track at the back. And I've never even ridden a motorbike before, and went off into the forest in the snow on a timber sled that these people had. They had like 2 spares and these huge trailers, and kit me up with the whole gear, and we just went off hooning through the parks.
Sounds like a
Yeah,
snowmobile.
are we talking about a snowmobile?
It is, but instead of having 2 stable things, no, you fall over a lot. Like it's just 1.
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a motorbike on snow.
Yeah. Good.
Good.
Yeah, so but before I would have been like, no, I've got to get to where I need to get to. Now I'm kind of just trying to have a better balance, and it's working out for me, I think, because I'm getting more exposure to, I don't know if you know this, but I'm trying to start a film company also while I'm doing this. So I've
Really?
released 2 films on this hike, and the idea is that once we work out a formula, hopefully I'll be able to get funding to go back and talk to people in, like, now that I can speak Spanish like better than I could before. Like, I'm not perfect, but you know what I mean. I can explain to these people that I came across what I was actually doing, and we can talk about it, and then do film, like an ethnographic style film or a documentary style film about their lives and their purpose, and try and just shed some more of that
Like interlaced with your hiking?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. You should try to find that guy in the Chihuahuan Desert and be like, hey, can I sit you down and interview you? Why'd you
Oh,
pull
are
us
you
over?
talking about the
The boss.
the white horse? Oh, right. I thought you were talking about the runner.
What's the runner?
Yeah, what's the runner?
There's a book called Born to Run.
Ah.
Oh, yeah.
Caballo Blanco, they called him, the white horse. But actually, he just died recently.
Are we talking the Scott Jurek book?
He's featured in the book. He didn't write the book.
Oh, I've never read it. I just thought it was his.
Yeah.
Got it.
Mm.
I thought you were saying that's what they called Scott Jurek. I'd never heard that. Anyway.
Be a fitting name.
No, I was talking about the cartel guy. How that would be fun if you.
That would be, actually. We did talk about that.
Well, because now he respects you and thinks you're important. So.
Do you think you could track him down?
The thing is, by the time I finish, I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm going really slow. I started in 2017, so I'm not making fast progress, and it's not a career of longevity. So, by the time I finished, the statistics are that anyone that was involved in that incident won't be around.
Yeah.
That's gloomy. Talking about not rushing to get through it and how long it's taken and it being going since 2017. I noticed a ring on your finger. How is it? I'm assuming that means you're married. The ring on the ring.
That's
finger?
what I tell them.
Are you just hustling us right now?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was gonna say, how do you I'm recently married. How would I manage that for that many years? I think Garrett would start to get upset.
I have to say that family relations and friendships, this has been the hardest and biggest sacrifice, truly, because when I go home, on the occasions that I've been able to go home, the friend maintenance is really difficult when you're under all of this pressure. And in many ways, when I see friends again, it's like there's no time has passed, which is wonderful. But it also means, I remember finding out in Peru that a really good friend of mine had committed suicide, and another one had stage 4 breast cancer, and just the guilt of not being home and being there for them, and my family are aging, and so ever present in my mind is should I be doing this? I feel like it's such an extravagance, even though at the same time it's the opposite. And then does it even matter? Is it really important that a woman match this feat or not? And then I consider how the path behind me is closing as well, because as political situations shift, or as these new roads are being built, there are sections now that you can't walk where I've been because pedestrians aren't allowed through. Doesn't mean you can't go through, you just have to find another way. But ultimately, I have been so lucky to get through the way that I have gotten through, especially at certain times. A lot of it is that I've been building relationships and diplomacy, and a lot of the times I've volunteered for people, and that's been what has accidentally opened doors for me. And so then I think, I don't know if you know this, but foreigners now can't go to the terminus, the CDT Southern Terminus. And admittedly, I walked through the border, and they were a bit uneasy at the time, but it didn't, it was okay. But maybe that means that that is going to close, that door now is also closed. Who knows? Things are just, our world is so fragile that things change so quickly that I also am well, I might be the only person that can have it completely connected like George did. George is the only person there's other people that have done it in various ways, but not the full connection.
Do you feel like you're running across a burning bridge or something like that?
That is how I feel, yeah. But then at the same time, I'm I don't really care about that burning bridge if I'm, if family members are going to start dying, or if I'm going to go home one day and realize I have no friends because I abandoned them all. I'm using emotional words because that is honestly how I feel. And then sometimes I get really self-conscious because I will meet people and have wonderful, strong, very quick connections with them on the one hand. And then on the other hand, people will be like, she's just using them. Those little snidey comments that, I know is not the case, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't sit with me.
But by the same token, these reminders of our mortality, isn't that also reinforcing the fact that you should go out and live this adventure?
Oh, totally. And one of my favorite philosophers is Martin Heidegger, who talks about that, understanding that your life is not infinite, and that basically the explanation is that you're going to die anyway, so why waste your time with people who never liked you in the first place? And I try and I live by that, and I also try and always lead with kindness. I cannot tell you how many times I have stopped for a period of time, like just recently. There's a trail angel up in just near East Glacier Park who was really burnt out this year because it was a difficult CDT year. And they were looking at closing up. So I stayed there for 3 weeks to just give them respite.
Another question about managing relationships, going back home. Maybe this ties together, maybe it doesn't, but you were the Australia Geo Adventure of the Year. I'm also aware that Australia has a very different relationship with like celebrity than the United States does, where like everyone in the US that is on TV for a little bit is idolized, and that's not the case in Australia.
No, we have a thing that we refer to as the tall poppy syndrome. So the more well you're known, the more shit you're given.
Oh, so have you felt
the
that
expression is, I mean it in a playful way. The expression is, I'm just paying you out, like I'm just teasing you. And it's friendly and whatever, but I personally don't see myself as a celebrity or anything at all. And when sometimes people do meet me, they're a little bit like, their hand might quiver or something, and I'm like, hey, it's just me, don't worry about it. And I have, like, as I say, I'm collecting Insta mums and lots of friends, and that's really, it's really tricky because social media has, like, I have just been speaking recently about how sometimes people mistake this social media as a door instead of a window into someone else's life, and they'll just walk in and insert themselves. But then on the other hand, I have, like, most of the friends that I've made over the last 7 years have been because of the connection that we've made. Usually it's through email or something else more deliberate and thoughtful than just a, hey, where are you?
Yeah.
But it's pretty complicated. Turning the circle around for a second, I bought some show and tell for you.
Yeah, love show and tell.
I closed my eyes before when she showed Jess.
YouTube.
Are you ready?
Yeah, of course. Oh, is that the medal they give you when you're awarded? That's...
Yep, you can pull it out, have a look.
Can we sell these on eBay?
Yeah.
Because I am, like, marketing trained, I asked them if Wombat could win an award too.
Shut up.
And Wombat became the first canine adventurer of the year.
Don't hog them both,
I'm
Chase.
looking at them. Leave me alone. Canine adventure of the year.
Isn't it sweet? However, he's definitely more girthy than they gave him credit for, because that is a snug fit.
Yeah. This is badass. Is that real gold?
Cool. That's what I was
You've
just
got
thinking.
the,
do you bite it like they do in the Olympics?
I did. I actually have a photo of me biting it. I'll have to send it to you. And
Wow,
I did send a photo with Wombat and me
Aww.
and him having a snug fitted medallion.
This is awesome. Do you have a trophy room at the house?
No.
That would be anti-Australian, right?
Yeah,
you have to, like, hide this in a back closet somewhere.
You would be setting yourself up.
Yeah. Well, get a house in the U.S. and get a trophy. You're less girthy than Wombat.
Yeah, that's actually, isn't that amazing?
That's very cool. That's
Wow. Thanks for bringing these
And then since we're talking about it, I also bought in my favorite trail snack.
Yeah.
Do you want to try
I do.
it?
Of course. What is it?
I thought it was chicken. It's pear.
Yeah, here I'll just do the ASM.
People love hearing us chew.
I love pears.
They're so good, and the thing that I like about these is that they don't go so dry that your mouth gets sucked dry. They're like, they still feel like fruit.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had a dry pear before.
Like an apricot.
And these are the worst ones I've had. They're a bit gritty and dirty, whereas the ones that I normally have are way more satiating.
Well, I
This is good, and it also doesn't taste like a pear to me. I mean, I believe you, but...
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
The flavor profile is totally different.
Yeah, and I just don't understand why they're not the most popular in stores. So really, because they're my favorite, I'm here talking about them because we need to increase demand.
You're here on behalf of Big Pear.
Yeah. Sponsor coming to me.
Yeah, right.
God knows I need them.
I've been on the Pearspiracy.
So... tell me why you feel like this journey is moving slower than either it should or you expected or others expected. Like, what's the pacing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, firstly, I was delusional. I really thought I could do this in 3 years. And I think that the assumption is, you know, you do a trail like the ones that I've just done where you have so much information. There's an app. You know where all your food's coming from. There's lots of people on the trail, so you have a lot of support. You can speak the language and all of that, and you know where all the water is. Whereas previously I've not had any of that information. In fact, sometimes I've turned up to towns that are ghost towns and there is no resources. And so that plays quite the mental toll. It means that you do need to rest. I've also had issues with human interference. Like I had to go through the Atacama Desert, which is the world's oldest, driest, longest non-polar desert. And there are places in the Atacama Desert that have never received rainfall. So that's why they test on it like it's Mars. So I got a hiking cart to help me get through there because I had to carry all of my water. It goes for 1,000 kilometers, but you could say 2,000. So that's like I don't know.
Over 1,000 miles.
It's a long way. And so when I received, it just happened that there were people finishing a science expedition in the Atacama Desert, and the person that had sponsored these hiking trailers were happy for me to have one because it was there and it was easier than carting it back to Germany. And they were being really generous. And they also sent me like a bag and some like panniers to go on either side of the cart. And it literally got to the apartment of my friends where I was staying when the delivery van was hijacked. And so my stuff, along with the rest of the parcel van, was stolen.
And wait, where was this?
This is in Santiago, Chile. And so I had to wait. I think it took 3 months for me to get the equipment that I needed. I'd already walked up to the entry point of the desert and was just waiting. So there have been moments like this. Or my phone in the beginning got drowned on its way to Antarctica when I had a mishap with the kayak.
Go on.
Yeah, phone number 1. And then
the same story with Gabe yesterday where he's talking about like how it's hard to go to the bathroom on a kayak.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine. I happened to so the reason I did so well in the desert is because this metabolism situation that I'm talking about, which is completely just me guessing what's going on and absolutely zero professional interest has been invested into this. But like when I was in the desert, I could get away with just 750 mils of water a day and the normal calories that I take. And then Wombat had 1.5 liters of water a day. And I had at this point flipped and was walking in the nighttime instead of the daytime because it was so hot. And then I couldn't sleep at night anyway because the moon was so bright. Just all this crazy stuff that was going on in the desert. Where was I going?
We were talking about just the things that have slowed you up.
Yeah, so why I went back down the desert path, I don't know, but I got to Ecuador and my phone was stolen while I was on. I was having a break. I was going on a bus to go check out some sites. Side effect of this hike, terribly. I get really easily motion sickness on buses and cars. I already did, but now I'm even more sensitive. And so I was trying to look out the window. I was holding onto the poles. I had my bag in front of me and someone opened my bag over my chest and took my phone without me noticing. Magician. Phone number 2. So, and then that's like everything. That's all of my maps, all of my notes, all of my contacts, everything like gone. So that is why it's taken a while. Sometimes there's an avalanche and I have to like reroute, which takes a while. Actually, I had an avalanche. This is like a moment of shitting myself, not literally, where there had been an avalanche and like a house had gone down the river with this avalanche. It was really like hard on the community. And these people knew that I wanted to do the trail and they're like, we don't know if it's clear yet or not. But my cousin, Avanta, he lives halfway up with the crossing where you want to go to. Maybe the two of you can go together. So we go up to climb along this trail where there's been all these landslides and there's a bunch of them. And, you know, when you're really like nervous and, well, frankly, terrified because you are about to, you know, as you do, cross a trail that is so steep that if the soil falls from underneath you, you're dropping like hundreds of meters. This is the situation we were in. Well, Wombat, who doesn't give a shit and has suicidal tendencies, just ran across them. So we had no... And Avantar was pretty chill about it too. It was just me, the Australian, that was a little scared. And so we had to like hack out a way to get across because no one had been through yet, obviously, because all of the trees were still strewn across. And purely because of the two of them, like this is kind of classic hike where people have just been so on board with seeing me through that I would have definitely have lost more time without Avantar and Wombat there to push me on.
You mentioned me, the Australian, being scared. Is that because the stereotype is that
it's
Australians
like you
are
guys.
reckless?
No. It's like you guys being worried about the animals in Australia. It's like I'm terrified of all of the things that I'm just not used to before. So I hadn't had to walk across of an avalanche, so I was really scared. Whereas for them, it's kind of an unknown occurrence because they're in an unstable area and they get a lot of like earthquakes and landslides.
But is it true that Australians are a little bit more or less risk averse?
I think we're happy to, the expression is give it a go. Yeah. Does that mean that we don't back out? No, I think that failure is like celebrated. It's kind of like it's really fun to go to the pub and be like, you will not believe the shit that I just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good culture. And I have a lot of questions, I guess, not directly related to your adventure, but I guess about you, because this is interesting. But so you strike me, obviously you're very smart and well-researched on everything. How do you balance, because you mentioned the Instamoms as well. I'm sure you get a lot of commentary all the time about people telling you how you should do something. How do you balance accepting the good advice without feeling like you're being overbearing, like I got this? Like that's got to be a tough.
And I seek it out as well. So like town to town, I always would ask people, because generally speaking, people will tell me if they're not in the hiking world that it's not safe. And so I will have to then screen them and be like, what is it that's not safe? Is it that the hiking, or is the next town unsafe? And then I would kind of work it out from there. And that's super dangerous because for the most part, they were just worried about me hiking and nothing more. But then you can become really complacent. So it was a really difficult practice to maintain that. And then that generally I find is the case for people who write to me as well. They genuinely are concerned. But I think what they don't realize, and I understand, because I have written to people on Instagram and been like, as a comment or something, or written impulsively a letter that of course they're not going to write back to. I don't know them from a bar of soap. And so the same thing happens with me. Like, I will sometimes just do like a little, just reminding you, like I got this email today, or I got this message today, and I know I appreciate that you're worried and that not everyone is going to see the stories all the time to understand that I'm on a pause right now, catching up or whatever. And I do it in a really polite way, but I guess the thing that is not clicking is that if I'm not okay, are you really the person that's capable of helping me? And if I'm not okay, are you adding further detriment to my situation by blocking my communication and by taking my attention? Or if mental health wise, like I really felt the burnout over the last year, and recovering from that has been such a long slog. So when I'm trying to deliberately get away from the pressure, then having that reinserted has been really difficult too. But mostly that's where I lean on friends and talk about it, because it does sound a little bit like, oh, poor little influencers having trouble being popular. You know, really, that is it. Like, you're doing a good job if people feel like they're reaching out to you. But I guess I'm super lucky in that it could be so much like, oh, yeah, exactly. Poor me. People are worried for me. It could be so much worse. And I have had problems a few times with men really overstepping. So, you know, my beacon, you can see where I'm up to. You can see the trail that I've been on, but it's live, but not. It's deliberately delayed so that people don't just turn up, because they will.
Yeah. we've talked about the CDT so much on this podcast. I'm like, unless there's other stories about that part of the adventure that you think are worth diving into, okay, I want to hear more about Central and South America or yeah.
Okay, I'll give you the run through, and then you can pause me if there's something that you really interests you. So I started in Terra del Fuego, and I kayaked across to the mainland. From there, I headed up between between Chile and Argentina, kind of deviating. There's a really famous cycling track called the Carretera Austral, which just means Southern Road, and that was really beautiful because this is Patagonia, famous region. If you're wanting to do like the most famous hikes there are the O and the W. Moved into I proceeded further north, and it started to get snowy, but eventually I moved over to the coast, and that was actually I decided that because I was really suffering from solitude, so much so that I was deliberately putting myself in the position of having conversations with people that kind of felt a little bit like I was on the verge of lunacy, because I was so desperate for human contact after like just spending my entire time without people and without having proper contact because I couldn't speak the language. And so I felt that moving over to the coast, when I would be neighbouring the Pacific Ocean, that home would be just on the other side, and that would feel a comfort. And it actually worked. It really was very helpful.
Are there like specific routes that people do follow when they do
this? You can absolutely, yeah. So the problem with what I was doing is that firstly I started completely green and not knowing what I was doing. It wasn't until later that I built my skills. They're both Argentina and Chile do have their own version of the trails, but it would mean that you wouldn't be completely connected by foot. You'd have to take ferries and things in certain sections, which I think would be really cool. It's just that, unfortunately, I am burdened by the rule of trying to do the entire thing only on foot, unless I'm like forced to get off an island. But if, like, for example, I didn't go in Mexico, I didn't kayak over to the Baja California region, which a lot of people thought I might do so I could do the PCT, because it was unnecessary. So we go back to Chile. I then went through the Atacama Desert, and you're in this area. You're getting along a region called the Capacnan, which is, or actually, like, Peru has like actually multiple countries have these Incan road systems. The ocean one is mostly covered up now by modern roads, but then there's one right in the Andes that you can follow. It's called the T1 Trail. If you have my favorite app, which is called Map Out, it's $5, and you have all of the maps in the entire world that you could ever need, and it's super fast to trace. It's like, and not only that, but you can move the toggles for point A to point B.
Map Out?
Map Out. It only works for iPhone though. Oh. And it will tell you what your incline is, decline is as you move A and B, so you can kind of get a better idea of how far you can walk each day. And it's really good for my head when I'm hiking up a hill and I'm like dying, because then I know only 100 meters to go, kind of thing.
$5 one time?
One time.
Sure beats the pants off of $10 a month.
And it's like people are constantly, it's crazy, isn't it? And people are constantly telling me about how much better it is than all of the apps that Gaia and like that people really love. Honestly, it's just two guys who put it together and they're exhausted, so that's why it is not on the other, because I wrote to them.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah, there's only 131 ratings.
Wow.
But the first one that I just clicked, July 9th, why pay for pointless subscriptions like all trails for features you don't even really need in a glitchy, clunky app? I love that you buy this one time, has functionality you need, quick loading, easy errors to download. Use this app exclusively to navigate the Sawtooth Wilderness Loop, Glacier North Circle, and Uinta Highline routes, as well as numerous shorter trails and day hikes.
Yeah.
Shout out to
All right, I'll give him my $5.
Yeah, honestly, you can have a look at mine, because it's got like all of my trails. I changed phones, so it's like from here, but it's just really cool. You can like touch away on any of it and you'll see how functional it is. I can't even sing their praises enough. I'm pretty much everyone I walk past, I have made them literally download it. And
you're an evangelist, yeah.
I just don't know how we haven't heard of this yet.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is crazy. Is this the map that you're embedding on your website also?
Yes, but no, that comes through my InReach.
Got it.
Which we then, because of sensitive areas. So one of the unexpected outcomes is that I like to call them adventure cowboys come along and they really want to copy like the sensational sections of the route.
What do you
for
call
their
them?
Adventure cowboys. Because it's not adventurous. It's a bit reckless. Like I should not have gone through the Daring Gap, for example, but I did because I felt like I'd met all of the criteria for staying safe. And there was still risk involved, but I was comfortable going through at the point that I went through. I don't know what the skill level is of people that are just randomly writing to me and saying that they're doing it to raise money. When they say that, I don't believe them right away because no charity is going to align themselves with someone going through an area that's a red zone. A red zone is an area where no matter what insurance you've got, you're not covered. So, all that said, that's an unexpected outcome. So, on my...
Can I pause you right there? What sort of due diligence are you doing to ensure that you're safe through areas like that?
I am meeting ahead of time with people who work in the area and building up a network, getting permission from Indigenous people or local people, and working with government bodies.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned earlier in the conversation, just because you mentioned Indigenous groups again, earlier in the conversation you mentioned getting kicked out of one area by locals.
Yep.
What happened there?
So I didn't want to walk along. In Colombia, you can, like the Pan American Highway is the most convenient trail to follow, but I really don't enjoy walking along roads, especially when I'm on my own, because as I was saying, my profile is just so much more elevated than people who are not looking like me on their own. It's my experience that the more remote you are, the safer you are. And generally speaking, people who live in those areas want to help you. So this system isn't what it is in Ecuador and Peru. I could just turn up and be welcomed and like in the family right away. They also don't have the sophistication of like WhatsApp and like the communication ability to know quickly what's going on. So I deviated off the road to follow a trail that was just looked more beautiful, not knowing that it was in under Indigenous sovereignty. And so when someone came past me, they notified what's called a consejo, which is like an organised chapter who then take care of sometimes multiple Indigenous groups. And so I was intercepted and walked out. And then...
did you feel under danger at any point?
No, they were super polite. It's just kind of like, and I'm surprised that it just never dawned on me beforehand, because at home it's the same way. If I want to go onto Aboriginal land, I really need the blessing of the elders because they feel personally responsible for your safety. So if you come under harm, they feel responsible. And so they want to know that you know what you're doing and all of that. And so sure enough, and this is so frustrating because I had gone to a shop before going down there and I had said, is it safe? Will I be okay to go down there? And the lady, from her perspective, because she's Indigenous, she's like, yeah, it won't be a problem, no worries. But she probably just assumed I had permission. So when I didn't have permission, I get back to the shop and she's like, oh yeah, you need permission. I'm like, so frustrating. But as it happens, my contact that I was working with before arriving to the Daring also had contacts for all of the Indigenous groups through Colombia. So he put me in contact with my first person and that was my in. And so I rang them and I can't tell you how careful and concentrated I was with my Spanish. But I just explained that I would much rather go through their areas because I have a special interest in cultural experience and because I thought it would be a more beautiful experience and I wanted to see the real Colombia, not the industrial Colombia. And he was wonderful. He was like, of course, yes, it will be much more beautiful and you'll like it a lot more and it'll be safer for you. And yes, we'll let everyone know you're coming. And do you know what happened? I was following these, thanks to Map Out, dirt tracks, which are like just foot trails. And people were coming out of their homes and waiting for me on the trail so they could walk with me for 15 minutes or so and like meet the girl who's walking the length of the world.
That's cool.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That is really cool.
Something else that's really cool that reminds me of is that in Peru we were super remote in places where they can't really get big deliveries of food. So things like lollies are not easily accessed. And Wombat used to have a backpack that had top pouches that stay out of water because of the positioning. And so I used to load them full of lollies. And then anytime I passed a school, I used to go in and give a talk and like a hello, this is what I'm doing. And, you know, just give them a nice experience. And there would always be a child that would ask what was in Wombat's pack. And I'd be like, come and have a look. And they would go through the bits. And when they opened the lolly pocket, thank you, I would just see their eyes just pie eye, just bulge, and be like so stunned that they wouldn't know what to do. They would freeze. They wouldn't know what to do. And then I get all the kids to line up and take one each. And then the teacher would tell me where the next school is. Isn't that cool?
That's fun.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I do. I try and do, like, I didn't, because I haven't been in the through hiking culture, I really never knew about trail magic, but all the way along I've been doing something really similar. Before we came into this room, I was talking about how the object that I carry that's totally unnecessary is that I always carry hot chocolate as a first aid item and nail polish. And I just have a habit, especially on these trails that are popular, of running into someone and being able to recognize that they're having a hard day. And because I can't help I just blurt it out. I'm like, you're having a hard day, aren't you? And then we both end up in tears. I can't tell you how, I just have a way of finding people in distress. And so when this happens, I throw down my pack, and in the side zip, which I think is meant for like a beanie or whatever, I keep nail polish, and I am like, I've got you. I have exactly what we need in my first aid kit for this. And I make them a hot chocolate, and then I paint their nails, and we talk about what's going on and what they're struggling with. And then by the time we part, everyone's good.
That's sweet.
It's rare that the hiker is the trail angel, but you're out there delivering kindness to folks.
Well, the thing is, I think I'm just not doing the same. Like, people are trying to do bigger miles than me, and so I can afford to. And like, the other thing is, this is not like a short-term, let's say 6-month pursuit. I've been living out here, so it just makes sense that I need to be giving back and feeling like I don't just have, 2 pairs of undies and barely enough food.
Yeah. Speaking of trail magic, tell us some more stories about you being ingratiated by the locals during this.
I mean, it's just constant. We want to stick away from the CDT though, so I'm going to have to just kind of think about...
if there's a standout CDT story, we can...
Let me tell you something really cool. So in Ecuador, I came into... So the reason that I'm not fluent in Spanish is because I prefer to be in remote areas. And in the remote areas of Latin America, the language is not Spanish. So whatever language it happens to be, I would always try and learn to say hello and thank you perfectly, because that goes a long way. And I met an indigenous family who took me in one night. Like, people literally grab me and make me go home with them. It's really sweet, sometimes terrifying, but for the most you can tell. And they were really proud of their daughter. They wanted to explain to me that she's a seamstress and that she had like 4 sewing machines, 2 overlockers and 2 sewing machines, which in this town, big deal, because they're expensive, and they literally eat the same meal for every meal. There isn't food diversity. The town is not wealthy. And she makes these traditional Ecuadorian T-shirts, and then they get sold in the States for $50, which is like nothing, because like what happens is she does the shell, which are these really cute little midrifty kind of floaty tops that are satin, and then her dad sits up all night and sews on the sequins. And in Peru, it's a very masculine thing to do the embroidery.
Really?
Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
And he was so proud. He would have he had his glasses right down at the end of his nose, and he set up like with the perfect posture to really make a point of showing me that he was just sewing on these teeny tiny sequins in candle lit log cabin.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
What else you got?
Yeah.
Well, the police, unexpectedly, I got really badly food poisoned in the desert, and a family looked after me, and then they were really worried about me, so they forced the police to run out 300 kilometers and come and find me and take me water. But the police didn't understand the memo, so they brought me out like a teeny tiny bottle and they're like, here. But along the entire journey, in every country almost, there's been a point where there has been some kind of an area where the police have been worried about me, and they've provided me with an escort. And I always feel uncomfortable about that, because I do not like taking the resources away from a country that I do not belong to. But as I was saying before, people just sign on. And when I was in Chile, the police were really scared that I was going to camp and freeze to death, and I couldn't convince them that my sleeping bag was going to keep me warm and I'd be fine. So they invited me to set up my tent inside their barn, and then nervously came over to me later in the afternoon and said, would I like to join them for, because they're in a really remote area, and that night was their traditional night to turn on, like, do you know what MTV is?
Yeah.
It's like an MTV version of Zumba, and they wanted to see if I wanted to dance with them and have pizza afterwards. So I went and did dancing with the police. And then later in Mexico, I don't know if you know what, the Tina Turner song, The Nutbush?
Maybe if I heard it.
Actually, it's not even called The Nutbush. It's called Street Limits thing. Well, I can't, because it's a beaty song, and we have a very every Australian knows how to dance to this song because you learn it in primary school.
Tina Turner.
Yeah, it's wild. So you can see it though, because I have a reel on Instagram teaching the police how to dance, and then in the middle of the desert we do the Nutbush.
That's fun. Yeah, now I want to know. Play it for us.
Do you want me to try see if I can find it?
Zach's looking.
Okay, cool.
Oh no, is it 11 minutes long?
No.
You said it's not?
It's a reel.
What's the name of... No, I'm trying to find the Tina Turner song.
Oh. It's called, if you put Tina Turner and maybe Street Limits, and then I'm going to try and get the secondary, because maybe I'm remembering wrong, that happens. That's it.
Can you show us some of the dance?
Yes, I'd love to. Let me see if I can. When you don't know your own page.
What if we press play?
Oh, I can show you.
And you do a demo.
Sure.
Yeah.
But only if you're going to do it with me.
How about we watch the first one?
Johnson's the ultimate negotiator.
Oh, the internet is not being... Oy vey, ¿por qué?
How far down on your Instagram is this?
It's not far, because I am so far behind, but soon to catch up. I'm so excited. I can't tell you how relieved I am to be, it's this one here next to the...
Okay, you're silhouetted. I'm going to find this.
Yeah, just look for Bailey with Wombat on her lap in the car.
This one. Got it.
Okay. This is the sound of us getting demonetized.
Okay. So this is me convincing them to do it and explaining to them how to do it in Spanish. It's really only maybe 6 steps on repeat.
This is hilarious.
And they were such good sports, and they're not the only ones who we taught it to. So now we're in the desert with the police car behind us doing it all together. But halfway through, the police forget the steps, and I don't realize they can't see me because they've got their back to me. So I have to run and get in position. And then to add to the chaos, Wombat gets jealous and jumps out of the car.
There's so much that's entertaining about this.
Yeah.
Not the least of which that all Australians are taught
But
how to
no.
dance to this song.
And on top of that, I had just finished running 50 kilometers. I had started, that was during the period where I was getting up at 2 a.m. because the van had broken down. So the police had to get me back to where I was up to. And every day that got 50 kilometers or 31 miles further down the road. Then I would run the 31 miles. Then they would drive me back. Then I would have to translate to figure out what was going on with the van. So it was a really stressful time. And just really nice that the police were so happy to be playful and like help keep the spirits up.
Is Wombat running with you or hanging out with the cops? Or
No. Wombat is not a morning dog. So if I'm getting up early and someone like Bailey is in the car, he will be like, best of luck to you, and go back to sleep. He will not get up.
Yeah.
And then she would either stay with the van or he would maybe come at some point with the police and then do like 15-20k with me, and then it could get hot and he'd be like, see you later.
Yeah.
He actually one of the things that the trainer here in the States had to help me with is that Wombat developed a really bad habit of hitchhiking, and literally he would stand in the front of a car to stop it if it was a police car or a white van and go to the side and be like, let me in. And even now sometimes he'll see a van and be like, eh? And I'm like, no, like, you know that you're not allowed to do that.
I saw this on your Instagram and made me laugh. Tell me a story about Wombat getting sick from eating crabs on the beach.
Oh my gosh, it's forever ago, yes. That was in the Atacama Desert, so it's completely lifeless, except a couple of interesting things happen. There's this fake rain that you can observe, which is because of the position of the Andes Mountains and like a warm front, you get this condensation, and then early in the morning when it's cooling off, it rains. And it hasn't happened anywhere else in the world. It's not rain, it's the condensation just rising and falling. And then also, even though it's a desert on top, the sea life is prolific. So there's a lot of seals and crabs in the water. And then further along, there are some river systems that run underground and then they pop up towards the ocean. So they can grow fruit. Like the most amazing avocados I've ever had comes from the Atacama Desert. And then they have this really famous soup that I can't remember the name of, but it's an orange coloured soup with shrimp in it that are river shrimp.
And he ate too many of those or just didn't agree with his stomach?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that he just ate some really old dank seafood. And I had to stop in Arica for quite some time while he recovered.
Aww.
Yeah, how tightly are you able to control his diet? Because you mentioned that like
he's more discerning now. I think he learnt from that. I mean, he ate a lot of, and this is bad, but he ate a lot of chicken bones going through Latin America because people throw them out for the street dogs. So yeah, I mean, he just doesn't tend to eat raw meat anymore.
Yeah.
Fair.
Tell us about the Canadian section of this, the GDT.
Wild. It's I actually would now say to anyone who is thinking about doing it, not to thru-hike it, but to section hike it, because it is that spectacular and the landmarks are in such close proximity to each other that it got to the point where there's a section called the Great Wall, and it is awe-inspiring, but I was like, when I went through it, because I had just seen one most amazing thing after the next that I was completely saturated. So it is wonderful. If you're hoping for a perfectly groomed trail, don't do it. There are areas that are higher trafficked, particularly areas where you can access like overnight camping. But I mean, we don't have the same hiking culture at home, so I'm quite used to having to bush bash and swim through mud.
Bush bash.
Oh, you don't call it that?
No, I like that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yes. So
I heard it was really wet this year.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? So, I mean, this is just things working out because I spent 3 weeks helping out at East Glacier Park. When I got there, I didn't get rained on until the very end. However, I did pay for it. this is one of the mistakes that I sometimes make, which is I take for granted how long I've been using my equipment for. And on my last section, I actually had to bail out early, and it's going to work out perfectly for me. But I finished the GDT at the original ending, which is Mount Robertson. Now it goes to Kakwa Lake. Because I got like majorly rained and then snowed on in that last leg. And, I was the last person on the trail, so what do you know? But my pack is no longer water resistant like they are when they're brand new. And then my liner had a hole in it. And then my sleeping bag sack also failed. So every single piece of item in my bag got completely drenched. And on top of that, I tried to get some neoprene socks or some waterproof socks for all of the water crossings that I was doing in town, but I couldn't get any. So I was like, meh, how bad could it be? I am now walking on 2 frost-nipped feet, and it's very uncomfortable. Actually, I should show you because it's like kind of gross, but also amazing.
Yes.
Show me your feet. YouTube.com.
This is like when I had foot rot, and I was like, to the doctor, I'm like, I don't know, can you just look at my feet? I don't know what's wrong, but it just feels like something's weird.
And your toes are black.
No, I undid my shoelace, and he's like, stop, you've got trench foot. You don't need to take your shoe off. I'll write you the prescription for it.
Ooh. And how long have you had this?
That's not as bad as I thought.
No, so that's been recovering for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And it happened over like maybe just a couple of days.
That's trench foot?
And no, this is just from getting a bit of frost nip from going through snow and then through water and then through snow and then through water.
Yeah.
Lauren, I'm going to need that photo. The pure reaction to the foot being held up.
I know.
So is that going to recover?
Yeah. It's just hopefully before Mum sees it.
It'll peel off, right?
Yeah, totally.
I didn't know, because I thought frostbite was a permanent deal.
No, well, it's frost nips before that.
Okay.
And also, actually, I've had frost nip.
No, you don't need to lean in. I'll push to you.
Okay, cool. I've had it I know we're not meant to be talking about CDT anymore, but in Wyoming, I didn't have I had pants, and I thought that they were going to be, I was told at the shop that they would be perfect. And there is this, in the Red Desert, there's a church where you can go and stay and seek refuge. And I was literally dragged in there because they're like, we're really worried about you. Can you just stay here 2 nights until the bad weather passes? And I was like, sure, no worries, shower. Mm-hmm. Went and had a shower and turned around, and the pain, I can't express to you, even on absolute cold water, I had frost nip down the back of my legs, and mostly on my bottom from the wind hitting the back of my legs while I was hiking, and it stayed like that for months.
Oof.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the diversity of the experience that you're getting going from the desert to...
And I'm off season, so I'm talking about the desert in Wyoming, but I'd just come out of Colorado where it had its first seasonal dump of snow, so I'd snow plowed my way out of the mountains and then got into Wyoming. It hadn't started snowing there yet, just out of good luck. So I was just trying to make good time because I was getting ready to get into a sled and snowshoes. But all of that didn't end up happening because of my visa ran out and I had to go home and sort that out. So this year, hopefully, is going to be my year.
What has been your hardest day on this entire experience?
I mean, there's lots of, it's kind of like what theme do you want to go by? But I think probably the day I quit was a really difficult. So I was hiking in Argentina, and there's a blog written up on this, and it's quite funny if I may say so myself. And all the nuances are in there, so it's worth a read. But the outline is that I needed my backpack had broke, so I had boils on the back of my feet, and on top of that I then switched shoes because it was being caused by the shoes, but the new shoes didn't fit my orthotics, and so the way that they were sitting, I now had blisters on top of that, and then my spine of my backpack broke, so I was getting this every step, this thing was sticking into my back, and it was just excruciating, and I managed to fix that, but then the way that the hip belt had moved, I was now getting a hot spot on my hip, and then I fixed that one day, and I just decided to have a day off and just lie on the beach and just enjoy myself because I had enough food. So I was going to do that, but then it rained all day, so I was stuck in my tent, and I'd been pulling water from the lagoon because Patagonia is known for like its pristine water, and I usually filter, but the filter, I must have like not known about it being like the freezing situation where they break. So it wasn't filtering, and I was like, meh, whatever, it's Patagonia. So I just was drinking, and then the next day while I'm resting but hiding from the rain, all of a sudden I get this urge to go to the toilet. So I go to dive out of my tent, and like a sick joke, it's the first time that the zip in my tent jammed. I couldn't get out of my tent. So I managed to get out of... Oh, I'm telling a poo story.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, this is what we do on this podcast.
Where you are?
You're at home here.
And you're about to learn like my secret talent. It's like gold, because this has happened 3 times. I get out of the tent and I pull my pants down and proceed to catch in my undies all of the diarrhea. Wait for it, because this is amazing.
You've done this
3 times. I am able to take off my shoes and my socks and my leggings, my choice of clothing, without getting any of it spilt out of the underwear. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing.
Were you aiming for the underwear? Was this an intentional decision? Okay.
No, God no. I was aiming for not clothing.
Yeah.
And so I had to limp down to the water and like bathe myself in this cold, like it's right on glacial water. And because I've been sick now, I'm running low on toilet paper, and I'm just feeling a bit sorry for myself. So I plan at there's like a service station coming up, but I'm running low on cash because they don't take card, right? So I get to this place after dreaming about it, and I'm like, I'm going to get 2 things, a block of chocolate and toilet paper. Well, they didn't have any toilet paper, and the chocolate block was $10. So I got neither. And I kept going, and then all of a sudden, right as I'm coming up to a road and like an intersection with El Shell 10, so busy intersection, the moment is upon me again. So I like quickly pull my pants down and am going to the toilet, and it's just coming on sunlight, and there's been no cars all day, and then all of a sudden cars and like my last piece of toilet paper, I have it in my hand ready to like sparingly use, and the wind picks up and whips it out of my hand. So I have to like hobble down the road with my pants around my shoes, trying to get this piece of toilet paper. Does that make me stop? No, I keep going, because I'm like, the next water source, I'll be able to like keep hydrating and just get whatever is going on out of me. And I get to the next water source, and it turns out that it's not a lake at all. It's like a silt sump. So it's like completely unusable. And, you know, you would think that I would have broken at that point, or maybe at the point of me pulling water out of a 4-wheel drive track that's frozen underneath a layer of ice. And I'm like, trying to boil the water to maybe make it clean. No, that wasn't what broke me. What broke me is that I was like, at least I can write this up in a story. I'll take a photo. And as I go to take the photo, my selfie stick broke, and I was like, I quit!
Damn. Yeah, that's a lot of things going wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, I was taken in by this lady. Her name's Floor, and she lives in El Shell 10, and she just like looked after me, and just, you know how mums listen to you talk about how you're going to quit, and they just give you that annoying nod like, I don't believe you, but can keep talking. She was doing that at me. And sure enough, like a month later, my mum wrote her a letter, and a friend of mine translated, and we're all in tears, because my mum is like doing her thing, being like, only a mother to mother could you truly understand the how much I appreciate someone taking my daughter in like they're her own. And like, even now I'm like, like it was just such a gift, because I would have quit without Floor. I would have quit without all of the people that have come into my life at the right moment. And honestly, that first year, I truly had one custodian to the next. It's just incredible. And, you know, the budget has always been super lean. So I think over 3 years, I budgeted $1,000 a year for accommodation. And then a friend of mine got sick, so I donated a year of that to him for his treatment. And then I took 7 years to get to where I've got to. So there's always just been like constant, like either a fundraiser or like, I've been really lucky in that. Like sometimes there's been like coming out of the desert was a really tough time, and right at that time I was convinced that I was just going to go home and that was it. And then I got a grant for $5,000, and I was like, I can't quit now. So, you know, like something's just always pushed me a little bit further down the road, and here I am.
This is a good opportunity to plug the way that people can financially support you on this.
Yeah, I have a membership that if people are on Instagram and they want to, or even you don't have to, but people can go onto my website and do reoccurring donations. And to be honest, sometimes I get an opportunity to tell a story that's sponsored by a company. So they're not even like asking me to promo anything specifically. They're just like, we just want to hear about how to, like, Cedar Summit got me to do a story on Own Your Journey. And those opportunities only come if people are following and talking about the story. And it's also really critical because when I do win grants, if I do a good job, then another person will have the opportunity to get that grant too. So I think that's probably the most important thing.
And I guess let's wrap it with, tell us about the next leg of the adventure. Is that something that's going to happen
Oh my gosh.
in 1 year?
It's going to be a shit show. I have never, like, the coldest temperatures I've ever been in are -20, and that was pretty tough. So my plan is, right now I'm waiting for the snow base. I'm about to go and get all of my winter gear. I've got a -40 jacket. I've got a sled. I've got snowshoes. I'm really hesitant to do anything that's too skiing-like because, you know, I'm meant to be walking. And so I mentioned before that I was glad that I had to pull out short on the GDT at the original finish, because it means that I'm going to come back and get that proper raw cold exposure. So I'll get experience with that. And this is kind of how I approach my logistics. I'll test that by walking along the road and see how I manage. And if I need an out, I'll be able to access out. There's some outfitters there who are able to help me. And not only that, but then further along, when I go into the backcountry, they have snowmobiles. So if I'm not managing, then when I move into the sled and snowshoes, they can bail me out again. And so the distance between Mount Robson and Prince George will be a real indicator on whether then I'll be having the confidence to push further forward towards Alaska in the winter.
So is this, you're going to this next? Like, what's the timeline?
Yeah, so I'm just about to take a 2-month break while I wait for, because they get their winter later up there, and get this burden of being behind on storytelling sorted. And I can't tell you how crazy it is. I have just been laughing so much because I'm so happy that I'm getting this off, like this stress off of me, and that I've caught up. I'm like so stoked. So over the next 2 months, those are all just going to get published, and I'm going to catch up on a whole year. And then
you're going to do the northern Canadian portion in December?
I think mid-January is when I think
that sounds worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be terrible. It's a terrible idea. I may bail. I have no shame. I will bail if I need to. But I also am really excited because I really want to go. Potentially, I don't have any routes mapped anymore, but I would really like to see about maybe crossing over to Nome on the Iditarod Trail and then crossing the Brook Range from the other side. There is the remotest place in the United States is in the Brook Ranges. It's the most isolated from any dwelling. And someone went in there and built a picnic bench, and I want to go and sit on that bench. And then pop down to Utqiagvik, the final town.
I guess doing it in winter, you're going to have some spectacular star shows out there. See the full galaxy.
I also used to think that it would mean that the polar bears would be asleep, but did you know that they don't hibernate? The males don't at all. It's the most important time for them to use ice shelves to hunt, and the females will den temporarily while they're giving birth and raising their young.
Are there polar bears in Alaska?
I
didn't know that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think so. I would have guessed that, I should say.
You would have guessed that there were polar bears in Alaska?
Yeah, that's about as fucking cold as it gets.
I don't know. I just always picture that they're like up, further up.
I'll send you a photo.
Yeah, send me a photo. Oh my God, send me a photo.
I'll get
of a
one
polar
real
bear.
close.
Talking about predators, I've heard that polar bears are one of the only animals that actually like the taste of human and will go out of their way to seek it out. What do you think about that?
I have had many conversations about, I know what reel you're talking about, and they claim that they're the only animal that intentionally hunts humans, to which I then say, what do lions do? What do any hungry animal do?
Oh, see, I think this was like of the bears. It wasn't on a real. This is like something that like I probably saw on a TV show like years and years ago that just like never left my brain.
Oh, okay. Well,
this is like a middle school Juliana picked
I'm
this up
crossing
somewhere.
over with a recent piece of social media. So
is there something recent?
There's a recent thing.
Oh.
I don't know how. Look, honestly, I don't know how they would measure ethically with an ethics board how pleasurable a bear finds human flesh.
That's what I always wondered.
And who knows, maybe there was something. I mean, some countries once upon a time were much looser with their ethics boards. Who knows?
Yeah, that's so funny. That's like a thought I've had where it's like, did they trial and error?
We should.
Like with dogs, how you'll put out 2 treats and you're like, does it go for the chicken or the cheese?
We should look into it because, I mean, famously, back in, I'm going to say this wrong, but let's say the Viking days, a hangover of that was that making lanterns with human skin was like a real, or drums was like a real show of glory. But of course that became like not a great thing to do. So the closest substitute is pig skin. And so pig skin started getting used. So I wonder if there was like a substitute. That would be really cool to look into.
More polar bear problems because the polar bears were like, let me get those lamps. You know?
Right?
I don't know. Yeah, more studies need to be done. Let's ask your bear expert. More emails.
Oh my gosh.
Soon to be our bear expert.
I think
our bear expert.
I think he would really love that. I mean, I have asked the stupidest Australian honestly, the first thing the Australians that I've come across on trail, the first thing that we don't understand is like, why do bear vaults work? Like, why should I hide my food 100 meters over there when in a very expensive Dyneema wrapper is a big chunk of main meal, right? Like, why does that even work? And we stink. It's not like they don't know. But in many conversations, I have learned that it's all about what brings in a bear at night. Night incursions, they call them.
Is it a milkshake that brings the bear to the
Yeah.
Do you know something? This is cool. And if you do talk to Tom, you can dive into this. But they did a test recently with the collared bears that they have in like a low human exposure area. And they had a propane gas tank just slightly leaking. Guess how far the furthest bear was brought in for that?
For gas leaking?
Just a little bit of gas. Like, they used a big canister, but you know the gas that we use?
Yeah.
5 miles.
Correct.
Wow.
Because it liked the smell of gas?
miles from a slow leak of gas.
Oof.
It's not even edible. So now I know less about bears than when I came into this.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some saying like a black bear can smell you unwrap a Snickers from like a mile away. It's some.
Yeah, but that makes sense. That's a Snickers. You know, like if I were a black bear, I would also come for the Snickers. But like, I'm not coming for some yummy gasoline.
Well, speaking of more research, this is one of the things that really frustrates me is that like I haven't seen any research on specific food. I know why, because probably people would start being like, oh, that's on the safe list. But all I want in the morning is a coffee, and I would just really appreciate it if they would look into that for me and let me know if that's okay.
Coffee's on the safe list.
Right?
Yeah.
I want a safe list.
Yeah, good. Well, we're running up against our time limit here, so how should we wrap this? Where should people go? What can they do? You mentioned obviously following. Yeah.
So my blog name is just a name that I gave myself, which was the idea was to describe what we would look like in silhouette, which is my unruly hair. So that's tangles and a dog tail. So if you do that, or even if you just Google girl walking the length of the earth, we do pop up. So that's the best way. And I mean, if people are really into it and they just want to recruit 1 or 2 extra people, that'd really, sounds like I'm really groveling. I am. That'd really help me.
Well, obviously all the stuff will be in the show notes too, so we'll make it exceptionally easy for them. No excuses. Go follow and share. Lucy, you're a badass. Thank you so much for coming here.
Can I tell you an extra piece of...
Yeah.
Yes.
The only trail name that I've been given is from a guy called Sun God, and he called me legit badass.
Full
tracks.
circle.
It tracks. It definitely tracks.
Spray the breast milk.
Yeah.
Exactly. Can you imagine if they'd made a cartoon of me? I'd be up for that.
Well, best of luck. I'll be following along, and yeah, can't wait to see how this concludes.
Thank you.
Thank you. To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show, doing a little bit of shape-shifting. Jess is sitting in for Chance.
Hello, hello.
Or are you Chance? I can't tell.
I'm Chance.
There you go. That's exactly what she sounds like. Let us start, because we missed this in the reminders. Let's talk a little bit about the Trek Vlogger program we're bringing back for 2026.
Yes, absolutely. Super stoked to bring this back. And we're kind of doing a new spin on it this year. We're hoping to get just a few folks that are hitting the trail either for the first time or, a seasoned backpacker. So if you're interested in hitting the trail, you're doing a through hike next year, and you want to share your hike via the medium of video, I'd say go check out the Trek YouTube channel and get a feel for the content that's up there and see if you'd want to add into the mix.
Yeah. One thing I'm stoked about for this year is YouTube recently introduced the collaboration feature. Mm-hmm. So now if you're also trying to build your personal YouTube channel, you don't have to pick and choose. Every video that goes out through the Trek's channel can be collaborated with your channel, meaning massive exposure. We've got close to 36,000 subscribers on the channel now. So yeah, if you're a visual video storyteller, we would love to potentially work with you.
Yep, absolutely. And you'd work closely with me. So whether that's appealing or not.
Either a maker or breaker of deals here. Yeah, good stuff. The link to apply for the Trek Vlogger program is in the show notes. There's other perks too. You can get the full scoop through the link in the show notes. Okay, actual real Trek propaganda stuff. Fisherman's Trail. You want to take this one?
Yeah, absolutely. So Chickpea, who related, was on the YouTube channel a few weeks back.
Yes.
Recently posted about her Fisherman's Trail hike, and she did a trail profile on it as well. So if you've ever been curious about this beautiful 140-mile hike in Portugal, this is definitely something you're going to want to check out. The Fisherman's Trail is part of the Rota Vicentina network, a long-distance path system in southwestern Portugal. At roughly 225 kilometers, 140 miles, this point-to-point coastal route is often ranked among the most beautiful hikes in the world. It links rugged Atlantic cliffs, wide sandy beaches, and sleepy fishing villages from Porto to Lagos. So if you've ever wanted to do an international hike, you ever wanted to do a coastal through hike, this is definitely a trail profile you're going to want to check out. And as an added benefit, Chickpea actually blogged her entire hike on the Fisherman's Trail. So if you want some first-person perspective on that hike, you should definitely go check out her page.
Yeah, this one definitely put the Fisherman's Trail on my bucket list.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I've been digging hard on the international trails of late, and I'm also a slut for ocean scenery.
I'm always saying that about you.
Yeah, classic slut boss status. Go check out the article because the photos are going to put this on your bucket list as well. Yeah, just really well done profile. Next one is shout out to James, because not only did he do a great job writing this up, James Townsend, great job writing this up, but this was his pitch as well. And something that potentially could be a big deal for long-distance backpackers. Could this thru-hiker staple give you mercury poisoning? By that title, you can probably guess where this is going. But on the AT, at least, I consumed a shit ton of tuna packets without even giving a thought to mercury poisoning, which I don't know how I didn't connect those dots, because I'm very aware of mercury poisoning. I think it's just when I'm in the realm of backpacking, I don't put too much thought into the caliber of my nutrition, especially way back in 2011. That certainly was not a consideration. But James does a good job of breaking down the FDA recommendation in terms of like the maximum amount of tuna that you should be consuming per week to stay beneath the mercury poisoning threshold. And that is 2 to 3 servings of light tuna per week, or 1 serving of albacore tuna per week. And yeah, I know I was consuming like at least a packet per day for many weeks out on trail.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And I did feel like shit on trail. I'm not going to say that's what I was experiencing, because there's a lot of confounding factors, but it does make you think. Mm-hmm. I do remember my mom a handful of years ago was experiencing a slew of negative health symptoms like losing her hair, brain fog, etc., and had her blood tested for a variety of things, and she came back very high for mercury.
Oh, wow, she had mercury poisoning.
Yeah, she for a long time was a pescatarian, and yeah, she would eat fish almost every single night.
Wow.
And yeah.
You should have just been going straight to the source and drinking thermometers.
There you go.
It would be easier.
If you're going to get mercury, you
Yeah.
might as well do it the old-fashioned way.
Buckle down, do
yeah.
it. Did I ever tell you what my first trail name was?
No.
It was Tuna Pants.
Tuna pants?
Terrible. It's because I spilled tuna all over my pants. Took years to shake that
Tell
one.
me that happened multiple times.
Only happened once, but you don't live it down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not. There's more appealing
There's
sense.
better ones. You could just call me Big Tuna. Now I think about it.
It's not a candle anyone's buying on Christmas.
Old Tuna Pants.
Yeah. But yeah, please go check out this article. We've already received emails from Big Fish about saying this is not accurate. So that's how you know we're onto something here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, certainly an interesting consideration. Obviously, we are not professional medical health thought people.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Dr. Tuna.
Right. Dr. Tuna over here. So, take this with a grain of salt, obviously. But this article is just referencing the FDA guidelines. So,
Yeah, the thing that stuck out to me was the line that if you're eating a single serving of white tuna every single day on trail, you're exceeding the recommended weekly limit by 7 times.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
yeah. And if you're doing that for months, I can't imagine the outcome is a positive experience. So, yeah, food for thought there.
Funny.
Yeah. Intentional pun, maybe. Last one is, we're going to shout out a Trek blogger and somewhat new contributor, JT Simmons. This is an ultralight quilt comparison between 3 very popular tents, especially the first 2 is the Enlightened Equipment Revelation versus the Katabatic Allsec, which I have and use and love, and the UGQ Bandit. He gives pros and cons of each option, and I don't want to give away what his ultimate takeaway on this one is. I want you to go check it out, but obviously they all have their various pros and cons. I will add that I own both the Revelation and the Allsec. I really like the Revelation for the money. It is not considerably, but it's cheaper than the Katabatic option. But if you're not extremely budget conscious, you can't do better than the Allsec. That's Katabatic just does incredible stuff. So
I've only ever rocked with the Enlightened Equipment, but consider branching out.
yeah, I will say, I think the reputation was maybe like 5-6 years ago that Enlightened Equipment's fill was too light for the stated temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
They've cleaned that up. It's
Okay.
much better now. Like a 20-degree quilt is a 20-degree quilt.
Yeah, say that to me on the AT in February last year.
Yeah.
I was like, this stupid quilt's not 20 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah. There needs to be a better standardization of that because, brands be wilding out with some of these claims. But,
So twoo.
check out this excellent article by JT, link in the show notes. Okay, let's do, this is Jess's question of the day,
Absolutely.
and that is,
Movies you definitely don't recommend to people.
yeah,
So this is 100% coming from something that just happened to me this past week. We
Yeah.
had a good friend recommend to me Requiem. Was that Requiem of a Dream?
Requiem for a Dream, I think.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah.
Brother.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a rough movie,
Mhm.
especially coming from having watched Labyrinth for the first time, and that's where I found out about Jennifer Connelly. I don't want to spoil too much about that movie if you haven't seen it. I don't.
No, it's tons
20
of,
plus years.
yeah, let's spoil this.
Okay. Well,
the movie's been out for, 20 years now?
yeah. Sorry in advance for those who, after this glowing review, are really going to want to
Yeah.
watch Requiem. For a
25
Dream.
years.
Wow. Jared Leto in it before he turned into a cult leader, so that's cool.
Okay.
Uh huh.
I have a fun, probably off-air story about Jared Leto.
Weird.
Yeah. Let's just say it involves a former roommate of mine in whining and dining.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, this movie, I saw it in college with my bros, my roommates at the time, and we watched this before we were going to go out to the bars. And I couldn't imagine a worse pairing in life because, like, if you're not familiar with the theme of this movie, it just gives you the most depressing look at drug addiction.
Mm-hmm. Addiction in general.
Yeah.
They go into eating disorders.
Yeah. Is it... So you've obviously seen it more recently than I have.
Yeah.
Is heroin the main drug that is
Meth,
featured?
I
Meth.
think.
Okay.
I think it's meth, but also the mother in it has a issue with, I think, essentially speed. I don't know if they used to treat like weight loss with Adderall. Really don't understand what was going on there, but she starts chugging diet pills. Everybody's doing meth.
Yeah.
there's sex trafficking, it's everything, and I'm watching this at like 4 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna enjoy my weekend. Then I was just staring at the wall thinking about my choices.
It's a great pick for the question. I would say the most depressing, or the most depressed, or just generally bad I've felt after watching a movie.
It is a phenomenal movie.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I would say if you...
Darren Aronofsky. If you like you some Aronofsky.
Is that the director?
Yeah.
Okay.
He did Black Swan.
Aha.
Mm-hmm.
Also a pretty disturbing movie.
Yeah, also disturbing.
He's got
movie.
a signature for sure. I would say, like, if you're on the slippery slope with drug addiction, this would be a good one to watch. Because, like...
Depending which way you want to go down the slope.
Yeah. Or this, I mean, did you have the DARE program when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. They should just show this movie as the DARE program, because this will scare you off drugs for sure.
I do want to hear, if you do end up watching this movie after this podcast, DM me personally and let me know what you thought about the ending, because I am extremely interested.
Yeah. Like I said, I saw it 17 years ago now. So the details are hazy, but I just remember all of the various subjects winding up essentially in the dumpster, and yeah.
With that iconic soundtrack in the background.
What is the song?
I'm just going to play it for you.
Yeah, we could play it.
On my computer right now in this moment?
Yeah. As long as it's 7 seconds or less, we can still monetize
the whole song
that.
is... this one, you're going to know it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You actually represented it well. I still had no idea what you were singing, but yes.
I thought I did a great job.
You did a great job.
That's
My
a Venmo is.
Yeah. That's a great selection. I'm going to go with, for movies you definitely don't recommend to people, any Marvel movie.
I agree.
And I've seen Marvel movies that I thought were very good. I actually like the Iron Man movies, the Avengers, where everyone gets together. Like, most of those were pretty good. Mm-hmm. But the fact that everyone goes to see every one of those movies is the reason why we don't have interesting movies anymore. It's just like, it's such a fucking copy-paste formula where we're going to remake every superhero movie 1,000 times because they don't want to take risks on something that somebody might not see. Stop seeing these movies and they're going to stop making them. They suck so... Like, most of them are terrible. Again, I'm adding the caveat that I've actually liked a handful of them. But just for the sake of getting a little bit of thought diversity into the movie theater, just please don't go to Marvel movies. Or I'll say superhero movies in general. I don't want to single out Marvel.
Did you feel like the Olympics of CGI, though? Like, it is truly like amazing to watch what these folks are able to do.
Yeah.
It's also them cramming as many big-name celebrities into a film as they possibly can.
Yeah. Yeah, I recently saw the clip of the end of Endgame, and where they've got basically all the superheroes together at Tony Stark's funeral. Spoiler alert.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, it is every big name celebrity you can think of.
So from my perspective, I finished at Infinity War. I never went on and watched Endgame.
Okay. So I did just spoil something.
No. But in my canon, they all just died, and that was it.
That's true. They
never came back.
Yeah, no, they do. I'm just going to spoil the movie so you guys don't have to see it. But stop going to those movies, guys. Like, let's reward the more interesting subjects.
Yeah, what you should be doing is watching all the A24 horror films. And then, again, DMing me personally and letting me know what you think about all of them.
Is A24 the group that recently did the...
they did Hereditary. They did Midsummer. Everything Everywhere, all at once.
Okay. I saw the first half of that on the flight.
Everything Everywhere, all at once?
Yeah.
You never finished it? Did you get to the dildo part?
No.
Oh, you got to finish that movie. It's really good.
Was it you and Katie who both said that it was your favorite movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to give it another shot.
Excellent movie.
Seeing a movie on an airplane is not the best setting for that.
Yeah, I watch most of my movies on airplanes.
Yeah, it's the only time I'm a captive audience. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm probably fucking off on my phone, which is even worse than a Marvel movie. Good. Let's do... This is also your suggestion. I imagine there's a good story attached to at least one of these. This is the triple crown of, we're calling this embarrassing foods, things you wouldn't want someone to catch you eating.
Mm-hmm. I think that's like guilty pleasure foods, or if somebody walked in, you'd just be like, oh, I don't want people to know I eat this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think my top one, maybe not top one, but one I've definitely gotten flack for in the past was eating cold soup out of the can.
That's terrible.
It's horrendous. It's not good.
Wow. Is it at least like a tomato soup, like something that could be somewhat gazpacho-y?
No, it's coagulated chicken noodle soup straight out of the can, brother.
Is just desperation, or didn't have a functioning microwave, or what?
It's college.
Okay. College should be its own category for this.
College foods should be definitely its own.
Okay. Well, my first one is also a college thing. This is back in my weed smoking days. I've since fallen out of love with that. But on more than one occasion, I was caught eating cereal with whipped cream on top of it.
Oh my God. Hello, 6-year-old.
Yeah, I have treated cereal like basically like a sundae. Like I've put a lot of weird shit on it. Whipped cream is probably the thing that I've been caught and felt the most embarrassed about, because there might have been sprinkles on it too, now that I'm thinking about it.
Oh, that's actually awesome.
Yeah, kind of almost like a sundae. I still routinely put peanut butter on my cereal.
I do that too.
Okay,
I'm a
that's
huge
not
fan.
weird.
Because Reese's, what are they? Reese's Puffs, the cereal.
Yeah.
They have every gram of sugar on the entire planet is in that cereal.
Right.
But if you just have some multigrain Cheerios and put a little scoop of peanut butter in that thing,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hack.
It also serves as like a speed bump, and for me, cereal's a little too it lacks depth. Like it doesn't have enough interesting.
Oh, you're a cereal connoisseur.
May I recommend the vintage whipped cream for
refined palate?
Yeah. But yeah, I like putting shit on cereal. Whipped cream is probably a bridge too far. My next one, this is a recent thing. I wouldn't be embarrassed, but it is embarrassing, is Annie's cheese cracker with hidden veggies. This is a children's food.
Oh, yeah.
These are like the bunny-shaped cheese crackers that we get for our kids. And I will routinely like sneak off with one of the kids' bowls and like sneak a few to myself. They're really fucking good. They're not. It's embarrassing to eat that as an adult.
What are they called again?
Annie's is the brand. Cheese cracker with hidden veggies.
Do you need your veggies hidden from you?
Apparently, I do. This is it's way better than a goldfish. It's way cheesier and more dense. Like it doesn't have like the airy middle part. And whatever the veggie addition is, I'm assuming, just gives it a little bit more character.
A little je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, giving a sophisticated quality to these children's snacks. They can't be that sophisticated because my kids go apeshit for them, but they're also very good.
Well, I feel like you're just not giving your kids enough credit. Maybe they inherited their father's refined palate.
The twins have a very good palate. Leo, on the other hand, will eat 4 foods.
Cold soup out of the can, number one.
Definitely not that. Yeah, we wrestle with him every night just to try to get like some nutrition in him. The one thing saving us right now is he's a big fan of smoothies. So we hide all the good stuff in smoothies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you put enough Nutella in there.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
All right. I think my next embarrassing food is pretty much anything that you have to eat with your hands. So wings, if you're sucking the head out of a crawfish, that's embarrassing. Don't do that around people.
Try to be hiking Viking and eating wings.
Oh, no.
I've seen him he peels his beard back and then we'll take a bite and then take the napkin. It's a process.
There's just something insane to me about being in good company or talking to somebody and then you're just an animal gnawing at the bones of a creature covered in sauce from head to toe. That's just odd to me.
Yeah. So besides wings, sorry, I cut you off. What else are you thinking?
Sucking the head out of a crawfish, that counts. If you're cracking open crab legs and you're just slurping out the meat, anything that you seem like an animal to me that's embarrassing.
Yeah. I'm going to say it. I struggle with eating in front of people in general. The process of being into a bite while trying to have a conversation is always a little weird for me.
Uh-huh. Are you dainty? You like to put a little napkin in front of your face? And
I like to focus on the food, and I feel like when I'm interacting with someone, it takes me away from that a little bit. Mm-hmm. This is weird. I know that all healthy cultures are very communal with their meals. I like to be a dark room, just really this is my Sunday moment. Yeah, all foods, but yeah, I guess I could see eating stuff with your hands is especially barbaric.
If you gotta wipe your little fingies off with a wet towelette, eat something else. There's other foods.
Fingies.
Yeah, I'd say my last embarrassing food is if I'm not on trail, if I'm in an office setting and I'm eating a nerd's gummy cluster or if I'm in the gas station and I come out to the car on a road trip with some peach rings, my boyfriend's just that's low IQ food.
Fortunately, you work for a hiker trash company where I feel like that is a very normal thing.
This is where I get my gummies in.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have, or at least we had, a lot of nerds in the candy basket.
I wonder who did that.
I don't know if that's you or
No,
Charles.
it was 100% me.
Okay, good.
I'm in here. I'm this candy's for the hikers. Psych.
Yeah, well, I have also taken my fair share of them, but...
Side-related one. And in the vein of low IQ foods, do you know the little butter sugar cookies you get at the grocery store?
Yeah.
That are for children?
Mm-hmm.
Amazingly delicious. Embarrassing. That's for 6-year-olds. I am eating the whole tray.
That's something I'm only going to eat on trail, but no qualms on trail.
Mm-hmm.
You're eating it off trail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a dark room.
So when you go to the grocery store, do you have like one impulse buy each time, or what's the occasion?
One is generous. I'm definitely...
That surprises me because you are one of the healthy eaters I've ever met.
Yeah, but I'm still throwing every single slightly healthier bad option in my cart.
Okay.
Especially at a Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Phew. Watch
Yeah.
out.
No.
My boyfriend hates shopping with me.
Yeah. Trader Joe's is tough because you know with great confidence anything you put in your cart is going to be good.
I love a Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
This episode's sponsored by Trader Joe's.
Yeah. I fucking wish. My last one is... So one of my late night snacks is we have a variety of protein bars, which on its face I think to be a plus snack. In the realm of bad things you can put in your body, I think something high in protein it ranks pretty lowly. However, to make it more palatable, because a lot of the protein bars we have are like 2-year-old Cliff bars, and I don't even know what the protein source is there, but it's like eating cement at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not good when it's fresh, and when it's stale, it's especially bad. So I will lather it with Nutella,
Okay.
which is just confused. Like, either eat the protein bar, don't enjoy it, and then have something that you do enjoy, or just fucking binge. Like, have Nutella on, I don't know, toast or whatever it might be. But, like, combining those two things is a very confused boy moment.
Zach, I have great news for you. They make a lot of really tasty protein things now, especially protein bars.
The only one that I've had that I liked is, have you had David bars?
Nuh-uh.
They're ungodly expensive.
Oh, okay.
The-
Oh, yeah, I think you told me about these. It's
Yeah.
like 80 for 4.
It was a box of 12, I believe, was $40.
That's egregious.
Yeah.
That's insane.
We'll change the tune if they ever become a sponsor of the podcast, just because I'll be getting them for free. But no, they're very expensive. So unless you're making bank, I should say if you're making bank and you're not price sensitive, check out David bars. They're fucking awesome. But for like 99.9% of society,
It's a big no.
it doesn't even matter that they taste good. There's no way that that is a good value.
So I'm going to bring you a Built Puff bar. These are these marshmallow
Okay.
bars that
Yeah.
are covered in chocolate. Some like 17 grams of protein and a marshmallow. I have a banana cream one at home. It's unbelievable. I actually don't even believe that there's protein in there because it's so yummy.
Mm.
So that's my protein plug. Built Puff bars.
Taking notes here.
It's just a straight up marshmallow, y'all. Get in there. All sorts of good flavors.
Do you know what kind of protein it is?
Good.
Sold. Good. I don't have any honorable mentions. Do you?
Honorable embarrassing food mentions.
Yeah.
I think basically anything that I would eat on trail that I'm eating in real life is embarrassing.
Yeah.
Dollar store ramen. Slices of
I mean,
summer
ramen
sausage.
does slap.
It is.
Ramen's
It's
very
unreal.
good. Yeah. I think ramen gets a bad rap for, like, the top ramen gets a bad rap for off trail foods.
Maybe my embarrassing foods is just directly tied with food I feel shame for eating.
It's a different conversation.
Yeah, I'd say that for the next one.
Yeah. Good. We have a voicemail. That was from Andy. Thank you very much, Andy. That is very sweet feedback. I love when we get voicemails. We don't get enough of them. So please, it's always nice to get feedback in any capacity. Being a podcast, getting it in audio is obviously a good way to present that. Link to send voicemails to us will be available in the show notes.
It's surprising to me you guys don't have folks that are just calling in like pretty much every day, every other day. Like I'd just be bothering you guys if I didn't know you personally.
Yeah. I mean, that's open to you guys. We have a link. Hit us up all the time.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
Hey, Zach and Sean, I'm on my way to the gas station. You guys need anything?
I used to be a big consumer of AM sports radio, and still a little bit to the extent. So the culture of calling in to your favorite radio personalities is something that I grew up on. I used to do it myself. I used to drive to Bourbonnais, which is Southern Illinois, to go to the Bears training camp, primarily to watch a live radio show. Like I was dedicated. The fact that I'm doing audio in some capacity is largely tied to my obsession with sports radio as a kid. So
Deep lore drop.
deep lore drop. You take the mailbag, please.
Mailbag. Hi guys, love the show. I am sure I have missed a show or two and this might have been discussed, but I am genuinely perplexed by the lack of anyone making their own healthy food to take on trail. I did the first 500 miles of the PCT in 2023 starting on March 3rd, so crazy weather times, got horrible tendinitis, and literally could not continue. But my food was so dialed in that it was kind of the most depressing part of leaving. It took me all of 2 days maybe, but I had dehydrated chicken, dehydrated refried beans, dehydrated black quinoa, dehydrated chili verde, black-eyed peas, dehydrated butter and sour cream, dehydrated curry paste. Dang, that sounds real good.
Yeah.
I bought some dehydrated mango while on trail, which is amazing, but I didn't really crave anything else while on trail. It just seems like everyone always makes it out like it's insanely complicated to eat healthy. I didn't feel like that at all. Not trying to be a snobby bitch about it. People did seem shocked that I had the food that I had, so maybe we should normalize making your own dehydrated meals. Fully agree. It's genuinely not that hard and not as expensive as one might think. Ahem, my friend paying $20 for a Gatorade and Skittles in a trail town, feeling exposed. Again, this might be a podcast I haven't heard, but every time I hear people talking about getting sick of their bars, I'm just sad for them. It can be better. Much love. Laura.
Laura, great email. Thank you very much for that. We have done a lot of interviews where we talk about people dehydrating food and like some of their top recipes, but I don't think I should say it's been a long time since we've done an episode dedicated to that. I think part of the challenge is I don't know how well that translates to audio. I feel like that's a visual experience.
It's almost as though we could put it on the YouTube.
Whoa, hey guys. Yeah. Plug for Backpacker Radio's YouTube. But yeah, that's a great suggestion. And if there's anyone in particular that you'd like to see on the podcast with dehydrated or freeze-dried food in mind, let us know.
Can I give my little plug here?
Please.
I think that the underrated hack is you don't have to make the food and then dehydrate it. You can just buy a bunch of dehydrated ingredients and combine things.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did when I was on the Wonderland Trail. And I think I paid an average of $3 per meal. And
So you didn't dehydrate anything?
didn't dehydrate anything.
Wow.
All the stuff came pre-dehydrated. I just mixed them into little bags, tossed in some seasoning, bada bing, bada boom. Worked like a charm.
I do love that. I can feel this is a bridge that I'm going to have to cross soon because the older I get, the more important it is to actually get like real food in my body.
Mm-hmm.
When I hiked the AT at 24, I could get away with eating just whatever I found out in the dumpster, which is true story. I did eat food out of a dumpster. But yeah, now that I'm old and washed up, need a little bit of nutrients. Thanks, Laura. 5-star review. Shit, I don't have the person who wrote this. Do you want to look up the reviews, find the author of this one while I read it?
Oh, I got it. Yep. Doing it.
Informative giggles. Backpacker Radio has established a foothold in the hiking world that functions as a primary source of expansive knowledge about the world of walking in the woods with a healthy exploration of every branch of meandering topics. We should have that as the entry to our Wikipedia page. The guests provide uniquely valuable insight that might otherwise be lost from the public's ear without this long-form discussion format. Like the best kind of hikes, the discussions aren't rushed, and the side trails are fully explored with the same naturally friendly vibes that are often found on trail. My only critique is that Zach's speech cadence is so fast that I occasionally miss what he says. Sometimes slowing down and resting indoors is essential to a successful hike. For those looking for a roof over their heads in southern terminus of the long trail, vtfoothills.com offers a remote cabin with fresh sheets and a queen-size mattress, drinking water, a propane and wood-burning stove to help you recharge your batteries to continue on your journey. As I continue to prepare my 35-year-old legs for the trek, I stay motivated by each new episode that comes out and listen to this pod on side trails through the Green Mountain National Forest in Hudson Valley. The authentic humor and organic banter is the icing on the cake. That's from...
I couldn't find it.
I'll dig it up in a second. Well, thank you to you. This is proof that we'll read anything. You get to critique me and then plug whatever side hustle you've got, and we will read it. But yeah, sorry if I speak too fast. I never thought of myself as a fast talker.
Okay.
Am I a fast talker?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Someone did leave a review saying that listening to the podcast at, I forget if it was like 0.5 or 0.75, is hilarious because we sound even drunker than we normally are. I should say the alcohol consumption on the podcast has slowed considerably from the early days. But yeah, I guess I'll work on my speaking cadence. I'll be more sloth-like from now on.
I don't think I'm a good person to do that next to. ADHD is a hell of a drug.
Just was checking email mid-sentence there. Wait, I do want to dig up that.
I could rant about Requiem for a Dream while you're doing that.
This was from Dirty Albright. Shout out Dirty Albright. But if you've got more to say about the movie, please.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll let the people leave that to their imagination.
Yeah, good. Thank you to today's title sponsor. Nope, we don't have one. Never mind. Leave that in the podcast, Polly. Super big thank you to the Chuck Norris Award winners from Patreon. That is Alex and Misty. With this part, I talk fast for sure. Now I'm going to be all in my head about how fast I talk. Fuck! Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kendall, Andrew, Austin McDaniel, Bill Jensen, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brian Alsop,
Fables.
Nice. Carl the Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marion Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost,
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin Haywood, You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Palace,
Jason Kaiser, Kristen Bell, Matt from Gilbert, Arizona, Patrick Ciancialo, Randy Sutherland. I think that was one that we were trying to workshop something. That's a new name. Come back to it. Rebecca Brave, Hart, Rural Juror, Sawyer Products, Spam, The St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo,
and Tracy Trigger, Fawns.
I was so focused on that last one.
I want a close-up of your face as you said Fawns. Thank you to another plug for Backpacker Radio's YouTube. Thank you to Polly, our guy. Go get some delicious beans at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters, ommcr.com. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok, at Backpacker Pod on X, facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Jess
X Trails on Instagram and YouTube, or the Trek YouTube. Did I do that right?
Yeah, no, I'm forgetting what I'm supposed to say. Appalachian Trials and Pacific Crest Trails. It's tough when we change the verbiage. It throws me off my rhythm. Appalachian Trials and Pacific Crest Trails are my books. Hiking from Home is Strauss's book. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube. You did it right this time.
I know.
That is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye.